All right. Good morning again. So we have Rosser, Mitchell, and Boykin. Rosser, we know, is en route. I don't see Ms. Boykin. And so by process of elimination, are you Mr. Mitchell? Yes, sir. So we could start with Mitchell. We have a Ms. Webb on the Zoom call. So I don't know if that's someone affiliated with one of the three defendants or is victim. Is that name ringing a bell?
I was supposed to do Barbara Joyner too. That's when I emailed that.
Oh, I don't know why I said, I may have said the wrong name.
Huh?
I have Kiera Boykin. I don't know why I had that. I thought it was Joyner.
Barbara Joyner was the one I emailed about, and then Megan said she was going to talk to see if her victim could come, but it never confirmed. But my client's on her way. She's gonna...
Good, and we'll do it. But I don't know then, let me plug in this case number where the Boykin name.
Yes.
Hmm?
We are doing
Oh, we're doing that as we're doing 4.
Yes.
Whew. All right. Think I got a good night's sleep. So Ms. Boykin is walking in.
She's somewhere downtown. I'm trying to.
Okay, I mean, she's on bond.
Yes.
Okay, she's probably stuck in one of those red lanes and doesn't know what to do.
Okay.
So we have one more.
Oh, no. I was.
Do you have Ms. Joyner's case number?
25 SC 005515.
All right, and she will be here, you think?
Yes, she's in an Uber. She said she'll be here soon.
Okay, great.
And Judge Ms. Webb is the missing on that case.
On the Joyner case. Got it. Okay. Then we'll try to do Ms. Joyner once she gets here because we've got someone on Zoom. I'm fine doing Mr. Mitchell's case if people are ready on that, but I'm not rushing anyone.
You just need to speak to Mr. very briefly, and then Mr. Mitchell will be ready in 5 minutes.
All right.
Ms. Boykin says she's 15 minutes away.
Okay, and here's Ms. Nix. Everything's coming together. So we'll do Mitchell first.
And everyone will get language C. And I understand it's under subsection because it's doesn't involve person's other citizens.
Okay.
And it says the person's over 17, there's minutes where maybe 3 years. I don't need but it can't be followed or.
Got it.
And I suppose she got the license over there. What yours from your parents?
Yeah, well, I should update it.
That's
I don't know, different parts of the stuff about.
See, this one says, if you're in the 17 license for mental insurance for 3 years, I asked for one that says 3 years, and it can be email adjustments, it can't be stayed from it first. You should know, it's not like the one time she said she completed this statute.
I'm gonna talk to you.
Okay, I don't think it was, no, you
Yeah,
don't see anything yet.
Okay.
I like it. TJ, you know? Do they need to shoot? I didn't see. This direction will have any criminal history. The no felony convictions and all.
I am ready to withdraw.
Okay.
I don't believe she has a.
I don't know if it's so.
No, it's a felony conviction.
And this is Williams will go with the obstruction felony. You hear me? This one. Oh, well, I'm sorry, Miss William, it's okay. Miss William.
Michelle.
Oh,
It's okay, you said what? Oh, no, because this is his first one. If it was, this would be.
I watched the video, and then he was just kind
It's not his first real construction.
of, we're gonna go with it.
No, I'm sorry.
Oh, while we're waiting, Javante James, he had some confusion because the bond order says no contact and no, don't interact and no, do you know what I'm talking about?
I do, and I think the bond order didn't catch up to the evolution of the case, which was he's going through, I think, the diversion program, the DA's diversion program. And Ms. Willingham explained that after her interactions with the victim, it just needed to be no violent contact. So if I need to amend the bond order, I'll do that. Is that where we're stuck?
Yeah, he was texting me, he was like, these said two different things, what am I supposed to do?
Well, I appreciate him being thorough like that. Do you have a case number?
Yes.
And then it also mentioned the ankle monitor on there.
See, I thought we caught that because,
I thought we caught it too,
yeah.
because that's what me and Ms. Rios were talking about.
right, that he wouldn't have an ankle monitor.
Correct, so he mentioned something about the
Yeah.
ankle monitor, so
Okay.
they just wanted that to be clear.
Cause yeah, he has one, so I wanted to, can we get it off?
Yes. So we need to modify that bond. If you get me the case number, I will do that.
It is 26 SC 000496.
Okay, and the bond should not have an ankle monitor, shouldn't have electronic monitoring, and he can have no violent contact. It's not a stay away from, because this was one of the two. We had, I think Rosser was the other one where victims saying, I don't want my address on the bond order, which makes it super complicated for the monitoring company because then we have to get it to them through a back channel, but then I have to give it to the defense attorney. So you can tell the defendant, this is the place you have to stay away from, which kind of defeats the purpose of not disclosing the. Anyway, Rosser's pleading and James isn't going to be electronically monitored, so.
And is he supposed to stay away from that location still too?
Who, on James?
Yeah,
No, it's a no violence.
okay.
So get rid of the stay away. The location was where the young lady stays? Okay. Okay.
This is very cool, but the version here. But I always have to get one of the agents to email him, because I never get a response.
Well, because the response is, the defendant starts to reach out, that's shady.
Oh, okay, he called him, he said we'll keep calling him, and then I sent an email, and I said on behalf of my client, I include,
You can CC me on it,
okay,
but technically, once it is put into diversion,
I'm not
we're
supposed to.
supposed to take our hands off. It's not really our case, it is diversion.
Okay,
So, but CC me on it,
okay,
that way I can.
I'll send another email and I'll CC everyone.
Do any of you three ADAs know an ADA with the last name Glass? Laverius? He's kind of new, non-complex, so he wouldn't be moving in your orbit so much, but I'm just curious. No? Okay. Well, to fill the time while Ms. Wood is chatting with her client, I have to share that come July 1, I won't be doing criminal cases. I'm going into the family division. I think some of you have already heard that and said, we can't wait. But my tour of duty is up. It used to be a volunteer program, but then there were no more volunteers. And so we have the senior most judge who's never done it, and then it's the junior most judge who's never done it. You alternate back and forth. And so I am being pressed into service for a little while. Judge Ellerby will be taking over this docket. So insofar as you don't bail ship, you'll get to work with her. If you like the 8th floor, it's only 2 doors down, so that's not bad. She moves a little faster than I do, but good folks in.
Faster.
Well, that,
I tell people I have a 6 month, like, I have a 6 month turnaround, what do you mean?
maybe she moves about the same. She's been in family division for 4 years, so she'll be getting her. She was known as having one of the smaller dockets, which means things move quickly because we all get the same number of cases. So big docket, they don't move quickly. Smaller docket. Our docket is a very healthy size. I'm good with how we do things. I may be able, I'll keep drug court. And I may explore with the solicitor's office and the district attorney's office a concept of having DV cases that are associated with the family cases that I have brought together all in one place. So I may still get to work with some of you, but I also am not disappearing. I'll be in this courtroom. You should come by anytime if you want stale candy, or you just missed Deputy Gordon. Although I learned he may get reassigned because we don't have lots of inmates in the family division. Every once in a while, a deadbeat dad gets locked up for a while till he'll pay child support. But that's it. But then I'll be back. You only have to do one cycle. Some people do it twice, but you only have to do a couple of years. So. But last week, Judge Glanville sent the email out saying, if you're going to volunteer, you need to raise your hand. And if I didn't volunteer for this cycle, then I would get the January 1 transition. And it made more sense to partner with Judge Ellerby. You guys would have had a very different judge if we went January 1. So you're welcome. I'm sad. This is what I'll miss the most. I won't miss the civil stuff. But I'll be back. But I wanted you guys to land in a relatively safe space.
You get to say, all right, give me my people back.
I'd love to have the people back. That'll be harder on the PD side because they tend to go with their clients. And Judge Ellerby wouldn't be going back into the family division. She will have been in it. So it would be, it's too hard to do the math to figure out whose turn it would be, but I get that judge's dockets, criminal and civil. So it can be a bad game of roulette. You could go into family division, bequeathing to someone a nice, tidy criminal and civil docket. And then as you come out, it could be someone who, for whatever reason, didn't manage the docket the same way. And so you could move from we hover around 200 criminal cases, 400. That would be sad. But it is all part of the funky flow in Fulton. We're the only jurisdiction in the state that has a family-only unit. Everywhere else, judges have a little bit of everything. But before my time, we created the family division, and it has grown from 2 judges to 4. So it sweeps you in at some point. I would like to have each one of you back, each one. We have a good family. Well, it's also been stable. We haven't had a lot of rotation with the PDs, which is the most disruptive because you have to get to know your clients. And while there has been a lot of rotation with what I call the line ADA, it's only because we've been lucky to get folks who are so quickly promotable. I have colleagues and they get the line ADA and that person is going to be like a career line ADA. Yeah, that's probably why you have 400 cases instead of 200. So it's not you guys. That's not why I raised my hand for it. Anyway, we'll have a little farewell something. We used to do a potluck around the Thanksgiving holiday season, but we stopped when, I don't know if any of you remember Pat Dutcher. He would always bring like store-bought something bad because you're supposed to make something. The whole point was to make something. And people would bring some pretty exotic stuff, but people would make it. And then he'd bring store-bought something. Well, he couldn't cook. I can't. Well, anyway. And then, COVID made that complicated. But we'll do something.
Are you still gonna do YouTube?
Mm-hmm. That's going to be problematic for people act out in family much more than it is peculiar to me. The highest stakes of anything that happens in court is what you guys do. People are going to prison, sometimes for life. And these are the lawyers who are most civil. Then you get to civil cases where it's money and the lawyers treat each other like trash. Then you get to the family cases and you would think that 2 people getting divorced are the lawyers, the way it can get messy.
I'll tune in.
Yeah.
Some good.
I
thought that was where I was gonna go, like, no.
That educated you?
I was like, yeah,
Okay.
You know why we're the most civil? It's because it's not our money.
Well, it's not your money, and you have to keep working together. I mean, especially Ms. Smith and these 2, every day they've got more cases. And so I did have one cycle on the PD side, well before your guys' time, a public defender who wanted to fight almost physically on everything, and it got nowhere. Then his counterparts on the other side, like, fine, 10 years to serve. Fine, we're not removing the recidivist notice. And our case count went like this because it was not, and it was disadvantaging his clients. It was a disaster. They sat and said, like, no, then we'll go to trial. Okay, then I'll see your client in 6 months.
that's because of the man, you got women.
It could be that it was a guy. There's a guy that the previous public defender said you need to go back to Washington, D.C. And he did. And then Ms. Wood came in, Ms. Feely came in, and we were back to the flow. It was good. So anyway, hey,
We're ready on Mr. Mitchell. He needs to sit to walk in.
great. Mr. Mitchell, I don't mean great, but it's fine for you to sit, Mr. Mitchell. Our court reporter is virtual today, so we'll just make sure that camera's on. If you can make your way up to sit next to Ms. Wood, please. And take your time. Good morning, Ms. Rivers. Are you ready for some takedown?
Good morning. Yes, I am.
Okay. We're going to start with Mr. Mitchell's case. It's 25 SC 005-643, State versus Mitchell. Mr. Mitchell is here in court with his lawyer, Ms. Wood, and we have Ms. Smith for the state. Mr. Mitchell, Ms. Wood tells me that you're prepared to enter a plea in your case. Is that correct? Okay. I'm going to need you to scooch in a little bit and be closer to that microphone so that Ms. Rivers can hear what you've got to say. And I'm fine letting you remain seated so we can get through this. If you need to take a break at any point because you're not feeling well or you need to talk to Ms. Wood, will you let me know? Okay. Ms. Smith is going to swear you in just a moment, administer an oath, and she's going to ask you. Is there an adult there? Okay, there we go. Ask you a bunch of questions about your case. You need to answer her questions truthfully and completely, but you need to ask questions if you're not following what's going on or something's not making sense. Will you do that? Great. All right, Ms. Smith.
Thank you, Judge. Before starting, there was a reduction of count one. Would you like for me to tell you what that reduction is now?
Yes, let me get the indictment up. Okay.
Count one is going to be reduced to felony obstruction. That's OCGA 16-10-24B.
All right.
Okay. Mr. Mitchell, please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you shall give in the matter currently in this court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Okay. You can lower your hand. Please state your true, correct, and legal name for the court.
Mitchell.
Are you at this time taking or under the influence of any alcohol, drugs, or medicine?
I'm on my asthma problem. I took my blood pressure, it's not bad on.
You said you're on an alpha blocker?
Asthma pump.
Asthma medicine. Okay. Well, whatever medicine you're taking, blood pressure, asthma, et cetera, does any of that medicine make you drowsy or woozy? Does it interfere with your ability to understand what's going on? Okay.
Is the microphone on?
It's on.
It's okay to yell.
I'm trying to speak.
I know it's tricky with the asthma and whatnot, but Ms. Rivers is having a little trouble hearing you. So be as loud as you can. Thank you.
Mr. Harvey, Mr. Mitchell, my apologies. How old are you and how far have you gone to school?
I'm 60 years old, 10th grade.
Are you able to read, write, and understand the English language?
Can't read it right too good.
Can you understand, though, what we're saying?
Do you understand that you have the right to plead either guilty or not guilty to these charges? And if you plead not guilty or remain silent, you may receive a jury trial. Have you had enough time to speak with your attorney about all of the facts and circumstances known to you regarding the charges in this indictment?
Yes.
Do you need more time to discuss your case with your attorney? And are you satisfied with her services? Counsel, are you satisfied that your client has a full understanding of this proceeding?
I am.
Also, do you waive the formal reading of the indictment and any and all defects in the indictment for the purposes of this plea?
No way.
Mr. Mitchell, do you remember being arrested on these charges?
Yes.
The state is unaware of any outstanding warrants related to these charges. Are you or your attorney aware of any outstanding warrants related to these charges?
You're not.
Do you understand that this is a non-negotiated or blind plea and that the state will recommend a sentence to the court?
Yes.
Do you also understand that the court can impose any sentence authorized by law, including a higher sentence than that recommended by the state, up to the maximum sentence on each charge? Do you understand that if you're placed on probation of any kind, you cannot violate any criminal laws of any governmental unit or any special conditions of probation without being subject to revocation for the balance of the sentence?
Yes,
Do you understand that this is a guilty plea which is permanently recorded on your criminal history?
yes,
Do you also understand that if you're charged with a crime in the future, that this plea may be used to enhance that sentencing, including on a federal case?
yes, yes,
Are you currently on probation?
no,
And are you a United States citizen?
yes,
Do you understand that there may be other adverse or unfavorable consequences as a result of this guilty plea conviction, just as there would be following a conviction from a trial? For example, your guilty plea may affect your right to vote, the right to hold public office, the right to serve on a jury, the right to obtain a passport, or the ability to obtain employment.
yes,
Do you also understand that by pleading guilty to a felony, you cannot use, receive, possess, transport, or own a firearm, and that if you did, you could be charged with another felony offense?
yes,
Do you understand that you waive any and all defenses, including any mental health defenses, by entering this guilty plea?
yes,
Do you understand that by pleading guilty, you're giving up the following rights? The right to a trial by jury, the right to remain silent and not incriminate yourself, the right to see and hear the witnesses called to testify against you, the right to the assistance of counsel, either hired by you or court appointed if you cannot afford an attorney, the right to the presumption of innocence, which means that the state must prove beyond a reasonable doubt that you're guilty of these charges, the right to testify on your own behalf or remain silent, the right to present other evidence of your own and call your own witnesses, and the right to appeal if convicted of these charges after a trial. Do you understand that these are the charges you're waiving by entering this guilty plea today?
yes,
Counsel, are you satisfied that your client understands that these are the rights that they'll be waiving by pleading guilty today?
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell, has anyone forced, threatened, or promised you anything to get you to enter into this guilty plea?
no,
As to indictment number 25 SC 005643, how do you plead to count 1, reduced charge of willful obstruction, count 2, reckless driving, count 3, fleeing or attempting to elude a police officer, count 4, failure to maintain lane or improper lane change, and count 5, driving while license suspended or revoked?
yes.
Is this guilty plea freely and voluntarily given with full knowledge of the charges against you?
Say that again? Yes.
You want me to say it again?
Yes.
Yes, you want her to say it again, or yes, you're answering her question?
That's of course.
Okay.
Do you understand that you do not have a right to appeal directly from your guilty plea? But if you believe that there's some type of error in your guilty plea, that you can apply to the appropriate appellate court to request a discretionary appeal?
Yes,
Do you understand that that has to be completed within 30 days from today? Do you understand that you have only 4 years from today for a felony charge and 12 months from today for a misdemeanor charge to file a habeas corpus petition challenging the voluntariness of this guilty plea?
yes,
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mitchell. Your Honor, if this case were to proceed to trial, the state would show that on May 31st, 2024, officers of the Atlanta Police Department responded to a disorderly conduct call at 1695 Pryor Road. This is a 3 grocery convenience store location. When the officers got there, they talked to the clerk that said that an individual that was identified as Mr. Harvey was at the store causing a disturbance. At this time, the officers did try to approach Mr. Mitchell to get him to get out of the car so they can speak with him. At this time, Mr. Mitchell backed out from the parking spot that he was in at that location. And while backing out, he hit 2 cars, one that was just at the location and another car that was owned by the police department. And he began to flee from the police officers. While fleeing from the police officers, he ran a red light, was driving recklessly, and eventually he was stopped by the police officers and apprehended. At that time, the officers did check his identification, where they found that his license was suspended. Because of the facts that happened on this case, Mr. Mitchell was charged with the offenses we have before us today. All of this also occurred, Your Honor, in Fulton County. Regarding the recommendation for this case, the state will be asking for count 1, 5 years on probation, and for counts 2 through 5, 12 months probation to run concurrent with count 1. Regarding those special conditions of probation, the state will be recommending that the defendant complete a defensive driving course, pay a $1,300 fine, attend an anger management course and successfully complete it, and also stay away from the incident location at that 1695 Prior Street. And that is all from the state, Your Honor.
How did you come up with 1,300? Is that statutorily for all the different things, or that's just what you think the right number is?
Yes, under the statute, specifically for count 3, on my end, which is fleeing or attempting to elude a police officer.
Mhm.
And then for count 5, which is driving while license suspended or revoked. And that was just based on criminal history, things that we saw, and then what was allowed by the statute.
Got it. Okay. Thank you. And you described one of the 2 cars that was hit as a vehicle that was owned by the police department. Was it not like a marked patrol car or?
It was.
Okay, so he hit a police car.
Yes.
And he hit a civilian car. Got it. Okay. But it's not charged, so there's no count of damaging government property. Is there restitution because he knocked out the headlights of the police car or?
No, not at this time.
Okay, all right, thank you. I don't think we don't have pretrial. Ms. Simpson, has Mr. Mitchell been on probation before?
He completed first offender in 1992. After that, he has a felony conviction from 2004 and another felony conviction. The first one was possession of cocaine. The second felony conviction after that was serious injury by field, and that was in 2010.
In 10, okay, all right, thank you. Ms. Wood?
Thank you, Judge. Mr. Mitchell is 60 years old, as you've heard. He's currently unemployed. He's actually working through some health issues, as you've seen. He's trying to get on disability. He's got back issues and then knee issues. He also suffers from asthma. He last was gainfully employed as a mechanic. Your Honor, in this situation, so on the night of this incident, he was having an issue with his blood pressure. And so he wasn't in his right state of mind when all this happened. So and then once the interaction, he did have a little bit of a argument with the cashier. And then once the police got involved, he sort of freaked out. And couple that with him not being in his right mind, and we have this case here today, Judge. I am asking the court to consider a sentence of 5 years probation. We don't have a problem with anger management class. I don't know if he's actually going to be driving anymore because he doesn't have a good license and he's not really able to drive, but I understand if the court wants to impose a defensive driving course. There was mention, although the state didn't charge it, of drugs being in the vehicle. So I am recommending a drug and alcohol evaluation and treatment as recommended.
Me too.
And then finally, Judge, since the state's requesting that fine and then he's currently unemployed, I would ask the court to consider waiving fees for a period of time.
Okay.
As I requested the court.
What's the non-negotiated part? Just that the,
Did I miss? I'm so sorry. Did you change the offer altogether?
It was when you were serving first within charge probation.
I'm so sorry. The original offer was 5-1.
okay,
So that's why I was going to be non-negotiable.
got it.
Thank you, Leah.
Okay,
So it's not non-negotiable, Judge.
got it.
Apologies.
That's okay. No, I want to make sure that the final disposition reflects what the parties reached, and here it was a negotiated plea. Mr. Mitchell, do you have any questions about what Ms. Smith just said or what your lawyer, Ms. Wood, just said?
So, Your Honor,
Okay. How did you get here today?
my friend brought me here.
How do you,
Dropped me off, she gonna come pick me up.
she can come pick you up? Okay. How do you, in general, get around if you're going to the grocery store or to the doctor?
I ride with her, she's not working. I ride with her, she's not working.
Okay, got it. So that's your source of transportation.
Your Honor,
And as of today, right now, your driver's license is not valid. Okay, all right. Tell me how far along you are in getting disability benefits. Have you applied or you're thinking about applying?
I'm trying to apply, though, I'm trying to get this. I applied once, but they denied me, so I'm going back again and try again.
Did they deny you because these charges were open, or they said you're not disabled?
Oh, no.
Okay.
Because I ain't got nothing back yet. They ain't denied me, I just ain't got nothing back yet. Here,
Okay.
heard nothing back.
Got it. Okay. Well, Mr. Mitchell, I find there's a factual basis for your plea. Sounds like that was a tough day for you and there was a lot going on. Doesn't excuse what you did, but it kind of explains what happens. Always dangerous to drive fast away from the police. You never know if you're going to hit a little kid who runs out into the street or what the police are going to do when they catch up with you. So I'm glad that it ended as relatively safely as it did. It could have been a lot worse. And you already have a serious injury by vehicle case. So if anyone knew that that could go poorly, I guess it was you. So I understand why the state had its original recommendation. But I do find there's a factual basis for your plea, and that your plea is knowing, meaning you've understood what we talked about, and voluntary, meaning no one forced you to enter this plea. Do you agree with that?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
Okay. Ms. Wood, can someone in my office sign the indictment for you?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Smith?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Mitchell, can we sign the indictment for you?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
All right. I will follow for the most part what has been negotiated. So your sentence on count 1, which has been amended and reduced to obstruction, felony obstruction of an officer, 16-10-24B, will be 5 years, and I'll probate that. And then your sentence as to all of the misdemeanors will be 12 months to serve. I mean, not to serve, probated, and they'll run concurrently. So it's a total sentence of 5 years probation. I am going to assess a fine. We need to, on the final disposition, break it out by counts. So for the reckless driving, it is,
500.
okay. So $500 for reckless driving. We got 800 left. I'll come back to the fine. I'm gonna keep telling you what you need to do. You have to pay the fine, but it's pay as you are able. And so unless you win the lottery, you'll be paying it a little bit at a time. And I appreciate that it may be that a lot of what you earn is government benefits, and it's gonna seem strange to get money from the government only to give it back. But these fines are mandatory. It's not the prosecutor saying, I wanna stick it to Mr. Mitchell. I'll let you know how that's broken out, but it is that total of $1,300, and you'll need to pay that down as you are able over the course of your probation. Special condition number 2 is no driving. Don't drive. I don't care if you get your driver's license back. Given the health concerns you've got and the history I've seen of why you've been locked up over the last 10 years, it's all been strange driving stuff. And so I think it's better if your friend gives you a ride or Marta gives you a ride. So while you're on probation, you may not drive motor vehicles on public roadways in Georgia. You will need to have a drug and alcohol abuse evaluation. And that is not me calling you an addict in any way. But just in case there's something going on with a little bit too much alcohol or something else, I want a medical professional to meet with you. And if that person says, you know what, you'd benefit from this treatment or that treatment, the treatment becomes part of your probation. I'm not going to require the defensive driving course because you're not going to be driving. You will need to take an anger management course, and probation can help you find that. You'll need to do that within the first 6 months of your probation. You need to stay away from that convenience store. Is that the only place you could go to get groceries? Okay, then we're going to stay away from the convenience store at $16.95 prior, and I will waive your probation supervision fees. So you can focus on paying down that fine, getting your benefits, and just sort of taking care of your household, okay? Did we get those fine amounts?
We did for count 3, which is the lien or attempting to elude a police officer, that's a $1,000 fine.
$1,000 for count 3.
And then for count 5, driving while license suspended and revoked, that's $300.
There's your 300. So count 5 is the $300 fine. And that'll be payable to probation. Yeah, the clerk's office pushes back if we don't say in there, is it payable to the clerk or probation? But as long as he's on probation, yeah, so that'll be payable through probation. They'll let you know how much you need to be trying to pay and where that money goes. Okay? I think I covered everything. Ms. Smith, anything else?
Nothing.
Ms. Wood?
No, Judge, thank you.
All right, Mr. Mitchell, good luck with things. I'm glad you've got a friend who can help you get around. I'm going to have Ms. Simpson give you reporting instructions, but she'll talk to you right outside the courtroom, letting you know where you need to be and when. Do not miss that first appointment. That's the one time you'll probably have to go to someone. Generally, probation can come to you, especially if you're somewhat disabled and not very mobile. But the first time you go to their office, it's on Memorial Drive, not far from here, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, good luck. So I want to be mindful that we've got Ms. Webb waiting online, but we also have someone with some little ones here. I'd love to move that along. So I think Rosser will go later. Is this Ms. Boykin?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And are you Ms. Joyner?
Yes.
All right. So if Ms. Wood needs to speak with Ms. Boykin for a little bit, but you're ready with Ms. Joyner, we could do that one. Are you and the Ms. Nix ready?
Yes.
Okay, great. So Ms. Wood, if you don't mind talking with Ms. Boykin outside, we can do that one once we finish with Ms. Joyner. Let me know when you're ready. Whoa, what is that? A nice little tablet.
I've been using this
Really? I didn't know that. All right. Very high tech.
year or two.
You and Mr. Miller. Well, let me know when you and your tablet are ready.
I'm ready.
Okay. All right. Ms. Rivers, we're going to get on the record in State versus Joyner. It's 25 SC 005 515. Ms. Joyner is here with Ms. Rios, and we have Ms. Nix for the state. Ms. Joyner, Ms. Rios asked that we add your case to this morning's ad hoc calendar because you were prepared to enter a plea. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. The way this will work is that in just a moment, Ms. Nix is going to put you under oath, and then she's going to ask you a bunch of questions. They're going to be very similar to the questions you heard Ms. Smith ask Mr. Mitchell, but they're your questions, and we need your answers truthfully and completely. I also need you to let me or Ms. Rios know if you have questions of your own. Will you do that?
Yes.
Okay, great. Ms. Nix.
Thank you, Judge. Ms. Joyner, please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that any statements or testimony that you shall give in the matter currently before this court shall be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes.
You can put your hand down. Please state your true, correct, and legal name.
Barbara Joyner?
Are you at this time taking or under the influence of any medicine, drugs, or alcohol?
No.
Is there a medication that you normally take that you have not taken or been given today?
No.
How old are you?
36.
How far have you gone in school?
12th grade.
Did you graduate or you made it into 12th?
Made it into 12th.
Is English your native or dominant language?
Yes.
Do you understand that you've been charged with the following offenses?
Yes.
Count 1, aggravated battery. Count 2, aggravated stalking. Count 3, stalking. And count 4, willful obstruction of law enforcement officers.
Yes.
Do you understand that you have the right to plead either guilty or not guilty to these charges?
Yes.
Do you understand that if you plead not guilty or remain silent and refuse to enter any plea at all, then the state is required to prove the charges against you at a jury trial?
Yes.
Have you had the opportunity to review your rights with your attorney?
Yes.
Have you had enough time to speak with your attorney about all of the charges in this indictment against you, including the facts and circumstances relating to each charge?
Yes.
Do you need more time to discuss the case with your lawyer, Ms. Rios?
No.
Are you satisfied with her services?
Yes.
Ms. Rios, do you waive a formal reading of the indictment for purposes of the plea?
Yes.
And do you waive any and all defects in the indictment for purposes of the plea?
Yes.
Ms. Joyner, do you remember having been arrested on these charges?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Do you remember having been arrested on these charges?
Yes.
Has your attorney advised you of the minimum and maximum sentence for each charge to which you're pleading guilty today?
Yes.
Do you understand that today you're entering a somewhat non-negotiated plea and the state may recommend a sentence to the court without your having agreed to it in advance?
Yes.
Are you aware that the state's offer is 10 years that you serve 30 days with the balance on probation? You have 24 days of credit, and the state will recommend that the remaining 6 days be served on the weekends.
Yeah.
With the special condition of a permanent no contact with Heather Webb.
Yes.
Have you discussed this offer with your attorney?
Yes.
Judge, I believe that her final plea was when I was in trial, so I'm not sure if she still has her final plea rights.
What do you remember about that?
She does because you were in trial. I don't think we had an offer even at that time.
Okay.
Okay.
Um,
So what that means, Ms. Joyner, we're not trying to use code. Ms. Rios is going to advocate for a slightly different sentence because I heard this was a somewhat non-negotiated plea. So Ms. Rios is going to argue for something different. If the sentence that I impose is more severe than what Ms. Rios says, so longer probation, if she says no jail time and I include jail time, she says no fine and I include a fine, anything that makes the sentence more severe would mean that you and Ms. Rios could talk about the sentence that I impose, and then you could let me know, sorry, Judge, I was willing to take what Ms. Rios said, but not what you did. And so I'd like to withdraw my plea, and you'll be absolutely free to do that today and today only. After today, if you want to enter a plea, you're stuck with whatever sentence you get. But today you'll have a chance to think about what I impose. If it's different from what Ms. Rios said, if I agree with her and say the same thing, I'm not going to ask you, what do you think about that? Because I gave you what your lawyer asked for. And it sounds like there's a small difference between the two. I have a hunch what it is, but I'll hear from Ms. Rios about that. Okay. And if it's a different sentence that I impose, I'll give the two of you and Ms. Rios, a chance to talk about it.
Okay.
so what I just listed was the offer as to count 2. As to count 1, the state will reduce to battery and offer and recommend a sentence of 12 months probation, and state will now process counts 3 and 4. Do you understand that's the state's recommended sentence?
Yes.
So the one felony would be aggravated stalking, and that's the basically 10 years to serve 1 month. And then count 1 misdemeanor now, battery, and 3 and 4 dismissed.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Do you understand that since there are multiple charges to which you're pleading guilty today, the court has the right to run those sentences consecutively?
Yes.
Do you understand that if the court decides to order a sentence that differs from what your lawyer might ask for as a sentence, that you have the right to withdraw your plea of guilty?
Yes.
Are you currently on probation or parole anywhere?
No.
Do you understand that if you are placed on probation of any kind, you cannot violate any criminal laws of any governmental unit?
Yes.
Do you understand that if you are on probation, you must follow all the special conditions of your probation?
Yes.
Do you understand that if you fail to follow all the special conditions of your probation, then you'll be subject to revocation of that probation for the balance of your sentence?
Yes.
Do you understand that you are not allowed to possess or use a firearm while on probation?
Yes.
Are you a United States citizen?
Yes.
Do you understand that by pleading guilty to a felony, you may not receive, possess, or transport a firearm?
Yes.
Do you understand that doing so could result in new criminal charges for which you face a sentence of up to 5 years?
Yes.
Do you understand that by pleading guilty to a felony, you also may not use a firearm in a crime in the future?
Yes.
Do you understand that if you were in the future to use a firearm during the commission of a crime, you would face a 15-year custodial sentence consecutive to the sentence for the underlying crime?
Yes.
Do you understand that by entering a plea of guilty today, you are waiving any and all defenses, including any mental health defenses?
Yes.
Do you understand that by pleading guilty, you are giving up the following rights: the right to a trial by jury, to remain silent, to confront witnesses against you, to the assistance of counsel, to the presumption of innocence, and the right to appeal if convicted of these charges at trial?
Yes.
Is it your decision to waive these rights and enter a guilty plea today?
I'm sorry. Could you repeat that?
Is it your decision to waive these rights and enter a guilty plea today?
Yes.
Has anyone forced, threatened, or promised you anything to get you to enter a guilty plea?
No.
Is it your decision to enter a guilty plea because you are in fact guilty?
Guilty on the effort,
Are you pleading guilty because you have decided that it is in your best interest to do so?
yes.
Get to speak up.
Yes,
Are you aware that even if you do not admit guilt, this is a plea of guilty and places you in the same position as if you were convicted by a jury at trial?
yes,
How do you plead to the charges of battery and aggravated stalking in indictment number 25 SC 005515?
guilty on the effort,
Is this Alfred plea freely and voluntarily given with full knowledge of the charges against you?
yes,
Do you understand that if you believe there is some error in your guilty plea, you can apply to the appropriate appellate court to request a discretionary appeal as outlined in OCGA 5-6-35 within 30 days of today?
yes,
Do you understand that if you wish to challenge the voluntariness of your guilty plea, you must do so by filing a habeas corpus petition?
yes,
Do you understand that for the felony, you have only 4 years from today, and for the misdemeanor, you have only 12 months from today to do so?
yes,
Judge, had this case gone to trial, the state would expect the evidence to show that on or about March 15th, 2024, the defendant came to Heather Webb's home located at 657 Boulevard in Atlanta, which is in Fulton County, in violation of a temporary protective order, which prevented her from having contact with Miss Webb and coming to her residence, and struck her several times, causing visible bodily injury, including bruising and a black eye. Miss Joyner was still on scene. She was in the parking lot of the apartment when officers arrived and did state to law enforcement that she knew she wasn't supposed to be there. And this occurred in Fulton County.
The battery that you're reducing aggravated battery to, is that just plain old battery, or because of the nature of the relationship between Ms. Joyner and Ms. Webb, would it be a family violence battery?
It would not be family violence battery.
Okay. I want to make sure that the final disposition reflects that.
Judge, Ms. Webb is on the Zoom and would like to make a statement.
Great. That was my next question, was whether Ms. Webb wanted to do that. Good morning, Ms. Webb.
Good morning.
So I'm going to add you to the screen here. I'm Judge McBurney. It's nice to meet you. I am here to listen to you about how this incident has impacted you, what you think ought to happen, anything you want to share about this situation.
I can't see you. I can hear you, but I can't see you.
Well, I'm there. I don't usually have.
Okay, no problem.
I'm here. I can see you. That's the important part, and the court reporter can as well.
Okay, thank you. Well, I have wrote a victim statement, and first I want to say thank you for allowing me to stand before you today, not just as a victim of crime, but as a woman who has endured prolonged harassment, threats, and trauma. And yes, I am a little emotional because, yeah, this was a lot. At the hands of the defendant, for several years, I was subjected to stalking, harassment, and escalating acts of violence, which was began as unwanted contact that turned into a pattern of disturbing behavior that made me feel unsafe for my life. On the evening of March 15th, all of my fears came true. I was completely violated in my home. I lived in constant anxiety, never knowing where or when the next encounter would occur. My sense of peace, security, and normalcy was taken from me. The final assault was not just attack on me, but a threat for my life. I was physically beaten and kicked at my right eye, and kicked where I had just recently undergone a kidney transplant. I was completely afraid for my life. I could have lost my life, not only lost my life, but lost lost my eye to this in this incident. My body was in a vulnerable state, but critically to my life and survival. This was deliberate, target, and dangerous. Your Honor, I can hear the defendant saying, while she kicked and beat me, slow, die, excuse my French, die slow ho, over and over again as I begged the defendant to get off of me and stop kicking me. Even with the TPO in place, the defendant on more than one case has still made it her business to violate the TPO and constantly harass and stalk me. On the evening of March 15th, I had just recently returned back home. So to find someone knocking at my door at that time of night, I was very unexpected. As a result of this attack, I was taken to Grady's Trauma Center, where I prayed everything was going to be okay, especially with my kidneys. Physical bruises, as far as my eye would be healed, but my kidney, once that was gone, that was it. Not only to mention that I have also had open heart surgery, where I sustained severe pain after the incident as well. Difficulty sleeping, mental burden of the whole situation has left me drained. No one deserves to live this way, stalked and harassed violently and tactfully, especially over a prolonged period of time. I'm asking the court to take into full consideration of the severity of the pattern that was intended by the defendant actions. This wasn't just a one-time incident, it was repeatedly escalating behavior that resulted in serious harm. I'm asking for accountability. I'm asking for a sentence that reflects the seriousness of what I have endured. This was excessive and uncalled for. Thank you, Your Honor, for hearing my voice.
Well, you're very welcome, Ms. Webb. And I know it was difficult to talk about this and have to relive it. It's been a couple years now, and here we are having to get back in the middle of it. I have a few questions for you. How did it work out with your kidney? Was your kidney okay?
Well, I've actually had, since this incident, I had to have a kidney biopsy done since that, which caused me to have a stroke and also 2 more heart attacks. And I've had to have 2 more open heart surgeries since this incident.
And how about your eye? Did it heal?
My eye healed, but I still have plenty of vision problems with that eye.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. Since this incident, since this bad night on March 15th of 2024, has Ms. Joyner stayed away from you? No visits, no phone calls, nothing?
No, she haven't directly, but she has been in spaces where she knew that I would be.
What's an example of something like that? Because I'm going to be giving Ms. Joyner some pretty clear instructions.
July 4th to be exact.
Like last year, July 4th?
Yes, last year, July 4th.
Okay, but what's are you guys relatives, or why are you thinking?
No, we're not relatives. I'm dating someone that she used to date. That's where all of this is extended from.
Okay, but why would you all be in the same place for July 4th?
From my understanding, she was invited, and no one in their family knew the extent of what was going on between me and her, but she knew.
Okay, but it wasn't I understand. And so going forward, Ms. Joyner would need to leave if she got to a place and you were there, but it wasn't that she invited herself, someone who didn't appreciate the situation.
Well, it wasn't that they didn't know of the situation.
Okay, that same, to me, that's the same thing. They didn't know. And so they thought, hey, I know Ms. Joyner, she's great, want her to be at this event. I know Ms. Webb, she's great, want her to be at this event. And that was a bad coincidence.
Mhm.
Okay, but apart from that, which I'm not going to lay at Ms. Joyner's feet, this other person doing the invites, have you been able to not obviously forget about what happened, but move forward in your life with your significant other without Ms. Joyner getting in the way?
Well, that part doesn't even matter. It was all about her responsibility. The other person didn't have anything. That's accountability for the person that is doing the harm. That has nothing to do with the other person.
Okay,
If
I
that
didn't
other
mean it that
person
way. I
had
didn't mean
hurt
it that way, and I guess I didn't ask the question well. Over the last 2 years, other than this 4th of July event, have you seen Ms. Joyner at all?
if I must say yes.
Okay, and what was the situation?
She knows where I live at currently.
Okay, all right. Anything else, Ms. Webb, that you want to share with me?
Other than I feel like, the whole situation could have been very well avoided. I asked her on several occasions, even down to when she first, informed me of who she was, to leave me alone. That was like completely ignored. If you go back and take a look at the evidence that I presented, I have never, engaged her with conversation. It was always directly towards me. She found any kind of way to make sure that I knew that she was around, whatever it was, whatever she was trying to do, run me off. But also on the evening of March 15th, this young lady came all the way from Stonecrest Mall, all the way downtown Atlanta in an Uber or Lyft, or whichever one it was that she, found her way past Candler Road where she lives at, to come to my home. And this wasn't just one occasion. On second occasion, she came to my home and threw clothes in front of my home in the pouring down rain from the other person that is involved. Well, that tied all of this situation together.
Got it.
At the end, it's this not I don't this not for me a slap on the wrist, because I could have very much been back on dialysis. I could have very much lost my life.
Okay. Well, I understand why you were afraid. You got a protective order, and Ms. Joyner didn't follow that. And if that doesn't protect you, then what is going to? So I can understand.
What was protecting me. And the thing was, right before this incident happened, I received a text from an anonymous number texting me saying, "This Barbara, I'm going to beat your ass." That's what the message said. And then a day or two later, the incident happened.
Okay.
I went down to the police officer again, and I kept telling them, this is going to turn bad. And it did.
Right. Well, I'm sorry you had to go through that. And I appreciate you being here, because it adds a lot of depth to what Ms. Nix was sharing about what this case was about. So thank you for sharing your time.
You're welcome. Thank you.
You bet. Ms. Nix, did you have any information about criminal history for Ms. Joyner?
No, sir.
Okay. Ms. Simpson, do you have anything?
She's not assisting, so, one of she has no felony convictions.
Okay. The only arrest showing up in Odyssey is this case. Ms. Rios?
Yes, Your Honor. Miss Joyner, 36 years old. She has 3 children, ages 14, 15, and 18. She, for a period of time, was homeless, living out of her car in homeless shelters with her 3 children. She just recently got a job working in a kitchen. She provided me with proof of her food stubs, and she just got.
When you say working in a kitchen, I got a
school
restaurant?
kitchen,
A
school
school
kitchen.
kitchen, okay.
Yes, and then, and she just got a place to stay. So she finally has a home after being homeless for about a year struggling,
Dealing with this.
homeless, no job. And so now she's finally.
Your choice.
Keep going.
And now she's finally situated. All of this is over a man. She was dating him. She sent me several pictures of them together. He was dating her and the victim at the same time. So dating at the same time. And he had actually texted her to come over to get her stuff. They were fighting. He was like, come get, was it keys or something?
When you say her, you're referring to Ms. Joyner.
Ms. Joyner, I'm sorry.
So the man, what's his last name?
Sims.
Mr. Sims texted Ms. Joyner saying, come get your stuff.
Yes.
Okay.
And so she went to the location, not knowing or realizing it was her location. I did watch the body cam and I did try to listen to where she says, I knew I should have been here. I didn't hear that. And maybe I've missed it because it was a lot of body cam. The first thing I heard her say was, she hit me first. I was attacked. So her side of the story is when she got there, and he was there on scene too. The man was there, Mr. Sims.
Mr. Sims.
And her side of the story was, she got there, she knocked on the door trying to get her stuff. She comes out.
She meaning Ms. Webb.
Ms. Webb comes out and they started fighting.
Okay.
And so she was hysteric and she maintained that on the body camera saying that she hit me first, she me first. They just were fighting. She did know she had the protective order, but she didn't know she was going to be at the location. I know that was their location. I don't think she'd been there before. So what?
You get a chance, Ms. Joyner. Let Ms. Rios talk for a little bit and I'll turn to you.
So, and since this incident and since she's no longer dealing with Mr. Sims, she has not had any contact or purposely. I know they were at the same location at that one time, but she's maintained that she never had any contact with him. It sounds like from what Ms. Webb saying that they haven't spoken. That's the gist that I've gotten from it, is they haven't had contact since the situation. So she understands the situation. This is why we were taking a plea, because it was still aggravated stalking. She wasn't supposed to be around. And maybe when she got there, she should have just ran. But she was saying that they started fighting and this has been bad blood between them for a while because of this man. The reason why it's not a full negotiated plea is because with work and her taking care of her children, even 6 days in custody would be difficult for her. This happened a while ago. Since then, she hasn't had anything in her history. She doesn't have a history. It all seems like this situation is a last, and she's 36-year-old, it doesn't have a history. Because of this man is what got her in trouble. Of course, she's taking responsibilities while she's taking a plea, but if it wasn't for this situation, she would not have any contact with the police. So I'm just asking for her not to do the 6 days, for a behavioral incentive date of 3 years, and arrest to be negotiated.
When you say the rest to be.
The rest is as negotiated.
Which I have as the absolutely no contact with Ms. Webb.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Ms. Joyner, where is Mr. Sims now? I don't mean physically, is he on Boulevard, but is he someone in your life right now?
No.
Okay.
Not at the moment.
You say not at the moment, in the last.
I'm saying that because I have dated this man. We have history.
You and Mr. Sims have history?
Yes.
History as in a romantic history or history as in?
Meaning like a bonds, like with family members and even his daughter. I took care of his daughter for a whole year.
Okay.
And Miss Webb, she knows all of this.
Okay, but let's not talk about Ms. Webb. My question was, is Mr. Sims someone who's still in your life?
No, I cut all ties.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, I don't want to get in trouble. And
at the end of the day,
I'm not a troublemaker. And this right here has really stressed me out. Like she said, I have kids. I don't have a criminal history. I don't get in trouble. I don't do things like that. I would just
wrong place, wrong time. And this lady, as I stated with the police, she can't answer the door, me not knowing because I heard his voice the whole time. I never once knew she was there or, you know.
So you had a protective order against you at this time?
And I didn't even know how I got the protective order. I never, like, she did all this. How did she get my address? Don't y'all see that she was the stalker? She was the one aggravating and trying to provoke someone.
So no, I don't see it that way. And if she got a protective order, that meant she got in front of a judge who decided that there was a reason for you to stay away from Ms. Webb. So my question was simply.
But it wasn't.
You know what?
Okay.
Let him ask the question.
I just wanted
to answer the question.
Okay.
I promise I'm gonna hear you out. Let me get the question out.
Okay, go ahead.
When you got a copy of the protective order, did it say, here's where you're supposed to stay away from, or did it just say, stay away from Ms. Webb? Because sometimes it'll say, don't go near 123 Walnut Street.
It just says stay away from Miss Webb.
It didn't have any addresses
No,
on
it did not.
Okay. Do you have a copy of the protective order? See if you can find it.
Because I don't know her address. I never knew her address.
Okay.
For it to say to stay away from her.
Okay, so you knew you were supposed to stay away from her, but you didn't necessarily have an address in mind to stay away from. So on this date,
Right.
March 15th, when you went to an address because Mr. Sims said, come over here.
Right.
Was that an address you had ever been to before?
I've been to the address with him because his auntie had a color party, and that's how I know the place to go. I never knew the actual physical address. I just knew the place to go. And yes, he did tell me, well, come get it. So I'm like, okay, cool. Because at this point, I'm fed up. You over there with her, this back and forth. I don't have time for it. It's drama in my life. I don't do drama. So yes, I wanted to be an adult, knock on the door, get my things, and just leave. But Ms. Webb came to the door swinging on me, and that's how we got to fighting.
Okay.
I did not initiate, and I never kicked this lady, never.
What did Mr. Sims do while this was happening?
While all this was happening, when I knocked on the door, his response, and like I said, the whole time I was talking to him. I never heard her voice, never spoke to her. She never came to the door, except for when she came to the door and started swinging on me for us to get into an altercation. But he said, hold on. I held on. I knocked it in because he never came. They turned the music up. And at that point, my conscience, he had to be with somebody, I guess. I didn't know who he was with. I'm just trying to get my key and leave. So he said, hold on. He never came to the door. Next thing I know, she opened the door, and then that's how we got into the altercation.
Right. And what did Mr. Sims do while you and Ms. Webb were?
He ran. He stood there. He didn't do nothing.
Okay.
He didn't do nothing. Like, he didn't try to prevent her from attacking me. He didn't try to break no argument or fight up. He didn't do nothing.
Okay. All right.
Excuse me, Your Honor.
You know what, Ms. Webb, I don't want to have a back and forth about this, and you are not on trial. You haven't been charged with anything, so you don't need to defend yourself in any way. You've already shared with me the impact this has had on you. It's been a profound impact, and this really isn't the right forum to have a back and forth, okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Judge, this is a DeKalb TPO, and I have that it has been requested, but I do not actually have it in my possession.
I don't have it either. I just was curious if that was something that law enforcement had given you as part of discovery. Ms. Joyner, what are the hours that you work at the, I'm gonna call it this
7 to 3:30.
cafeteria? 7 to 3:30. And when you're there, where are the kids?
They're at school.
Okay, the 18-year-old is still in school?
My 18-year-old, he works.
He works?
Yes.
Okay. But does he live with you?
Yes.
Got it. Okay. Is there anything more you want to add?
No, I just want to, like, not have a felony on my record, because I never been through nothing like this. And just as much as this has, she say, damage her, it has damaged me too. being a mother and having to go through this. I didn't know, far as being with this dude, that my life was gonna change all because of another female. I didn't want to be fighting her or none of that. And I didn't, it's just been stressful. It's just been very stressful.
Okay.
I am asking for to be treated as a first offender.
Okay. Ms. Joyner, did you talk with Ms. Rios about how first offender works?
Yes.
Understand that if I sentence you as a first offender, which you qualify for, if you successfully complete your sentence, then, well, first of all, it doesn't start out as a conviction, which helps with keeping your job and whatnot, getting other jobs. But two, if you successfully complete your sentence, then you can work to have it removed from your record.
Yes.
It's not a conviction, but you also can have it sealed.
Okay.
The downside of first offender is that if you are someone who is prone to get into situations like this and you're going to get arrested sometime in the next few years, not only would you have new charges, but I promise you we would get back together and I would realize that you overstated your ability to stay out of trouble and leave Ms. Webb alone and not get into a situation like this again. Not only could you have your probation revoked, but you could be resentenced. And it could be resentenced in a way that is very different from today. And I don't share that with you to say I'm threatening you. I just need you to know there's a risk to first offender. People see it and say, that's fantastic. That's what I want. You are older and your situation is a little more stable than many of the defendants I work with. But sometimes someone will say, yeah, that's great. That's what I want. And it's not in their best interest because 6 months later, they're running and gunning again. That's not you, but that is some people, and it blows up on them. And first offender is actually a bad idea. You know much better than I do if you think that first offender works for you. Do you think it does?
Yes.
Okay. You seem to want to say something about first offender.
I did want to say something. I wanted to say, how can I protect myself? Yes, y'all saying that I can't get in trouble. But as I stated before, and as I told my attorney, she antagonized me, which basically she provoked me, like texting me and, did everything that she's saying that I did to her, as far as the aggravating stalking, she did that. But I never, went to the police because I feel like we're adults and I know why you doing all this. Ain't no need for all of that, That's why I didn't go to the police.
Well, couple
so
things.
How can I protect myself so this won't happen again?
Couple
and
things.
I won't feel like I'm doing. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay, first, again, Ms. Joyner was able to get a protective order, which means she got in front of a judge and was able to present enough evidence that that judge was concerned, not about Ms. Webb, but about you. And so I think it was a two-way situation. It wasn't, listening to each of you, it's the other person, it was all the other person. There must have been some text coming from you that made Ms. Joyner concerned. And she got the TPO. You didn't. You said, yeah, I turned the other cheek, and that's your decision. But to answer your question going forward, because it will be a condition of your sentence that you have no contact with Ms. Webb, none at all. First, don't respond to anything ever that she sends you, because if you do, that's contact with her. Second, if Ms. Webb is sending you things, you get those to Ms. Rios, and Ms. Rios gets them to Ms. Nix, and we'll work through it. And I'm happy to let Ms. Webb know you need to stay out of Ms. Joyner's life. But I am not, by saying that, agreeing with you that Ms. Webb has ever contacted you. I don't know, and today isn't the day to get in the middle of that. It's the day to have you both move forward in different ways. Okay. But if you respond to something that you perceive is coming from Ms. Webb, and it really is from Ms. Webb, and you've responded, you've contacted her, and I bet you she's going to send it to the prosecutor. That's going to get us back together, and that's going to be the easier than getting arrested would be evidence that you were messing with Ms. Webb. That will cause your probation to go away. That will cause your kids to not be, no, just understand it. You need to not be around her. Okay?
I understand that. But that's just my point. Just like how she stated that I text her and said, this is Barbara. I I never text that lady that. So how can I prevent things like that? Because you could easily say, somebody texted me again and it was me and it
Sure.
wasn't me.
But it has to be proof. And so if it's anonymous, that's not proof that you did it. But folks are pretty sophisticated these days. The district attorney's office can figure out, hey, it came from this phone number. We'll do this, that, and then they realize, even though you're saying it's not you, it was you. Or it was Mr. Sims, who's just a troublemaker. And he may be a wonderful guy. It sounds like he wasn't necessarily shooting straight with the two of you. But you need to be on your guard and not lose it one day and say, I'm just going to text you back. That would be violating the most important condition of your probation, which is leave Ms. Webb alone, 110%.
I don't really know that lady to even be bothering her. Like she stated, it was just for.
Well, then it should be easy. Then it should be easy.
Yeah, it has been easy. I have not talked to her.
Well, there you go. Anything else you want to tell me?
No.
Okay. Well, Ms. Joyner, I find there's a factual basis for your plea. I understand it's under Alford, and if this went to a jury, the jury would have a lot to work through. But you're here saying, I want to resolve this, and I'll accept your plea. I also find that your plea is knowing and voluntary. Knowing means you've understood what we talked about, and voluntary means that despite all the things you shared with me, you've decided that you want to go forward with the plea. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Rios, can someone in my office sign the indictment for you?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Nix?
Yes, sir.
And Ms. Joyner, can we sign it for you?
Yes.
All right. So if I get the indictment back on the screen, you are pleading to count 1, which has been reduced to battery, a misdemeanor, and count 2, aggravated stalking. 3 and 4 are dismissed. And your sentence on count 1 is going to be 12 months probated. Count 2 is going to be 8 years probated. They're going to run concurrently with each other. Special condition of probation, and these conditions are, special condition of probation number 1 is that you're going to spend 3 weekends in jail. And those will start not this Friday, but next Friday. You need to be at the county jail. How does that work, Deputy Gordon? She'll report to the county jail and then get transferred to ACDC? Okay. You need to get to the county jail by 5 p.m. starting next Friday, 3 weekends in a row. You'll be released by 5 p.m. That Sunday. Now that I understand better your situation with your 18-year-old, the other 2 kids are going to be all right for those 3 weekends. The next special condition of your probation, let me finish, is that you have no contact with Ms. Webb. Don't reach out, nothing. If she's reaching out to you, get that to Ms. Rios so that Ms. Rios can get it to Ms. Nix, and we'll take it from there. And I will, Ms. Joyner, set a behavioral incentive date of April 16th of 2029. That's 3 years from today. If you have, and I have no doubt that you'll be able to do this, for those 3 years of probation, stayed out of harm's way, not gotten in any trouble, and no one is hearing anything from Ms. Webb that can be validated, then your probation can end early. I'll also waive your probation supervision fees for the first 6 months as you continue to get settled with your new job and your new residence. And finally, this is a first offender disposition. I think that reaching age 36 with no trouble certainly entitles you to that. And I believe that you are going to head in a direction away from Ms. Webb, and that this isn't going to be something complicated for you to take care of.
Can I say one more thing?
You sure can.
About the weekends going to jail. My son he's leaving on the 21st.
Where is he going?
He's going to Weldon. He's going to Weldon School in Kentucky.
Oh, good for him.
Yes.
Okay.
So he won't be able to watch over my kids.
He leaves on April 21st?
Yes.
Next week. How long is he going to be in Kentucky?
He's going to be stationed there for 2 years.
Is it like a military thing?
No.
Okay. All right.
It's a trade that he's taking.
Okay. Then let's do this. What if we had you, do this weekend, and then I will backload 2 weekends. And if after 6 months there've been no issues, I'll make those 2 weekends go away.
Okay.
All right. So you need to, this Friday by 5, get to the county jail. You'll be released Sunday by 5. And if at the 6-month mark, probation says, hey, Ms. Joyner's done everything she needs to do, I'm not hearing anything from Ms. Nix about you in any way contacting or being involved with Ms. Webb, then I'll hold those remaining 4 days that would get you to the full month. That's the math that was involved in abeyance. Okay?
Okay.
Do you want to talk to Ms. Rios about the sentence, or do you want to go forward?
Yeah, I guess. I'm just a little stressed right now.
Okay, well, you want to take 5 and talk with Ms. Rios, or
You talk.
Yeah.
okay, why don't you guys talk?
Judge,
Hi,
I have a moment with you.
me?
Yes. My parents who are joining us in court in Alabama just told me some news about you. I was in the hallway.
Yeah, I thought Ms. Rios would tell you. It wasn't a secret, it just, we had time to kill because you were working with Mr. Mitchell.
My goodness, when do you go?
July 1. So I don't go, I'm right here, and Judge Ellerby will be, so you're gonna be 2 doors down. We'll visit, I'll slide the candy down there. Deputy Gordon may end up in there because the sheriff's team has said you don't have lots of inmates in the family division, and so they can get a deputy who moves at a different speed for a family judge. So it may be that the only thing you're missing is the ornery judge, so you'll be in a great spot. Same docket, it just goes down there. It is obligatory, and Ms. Rios can explain to you why I went July 1 instead. I had to go July 1 or January 1. And it had a lot to do with where you'd end up. So you can thank me later. Can we do Ms. Boykin's case? That would be great. Is Mr. Rosser here? Can we do a plea that is less than 45 minutes?
Yes, I guess, for sure.
Ms. Nix, I'm sorry, but you got to stick around till we hear what Ms. Joyner's going to do. Ms. Boykin, how do you want to pull this off with your kids here and taking the plea?
She said, chair. Where's that? Yeah. Yeah.
Sure.
All right.
Let me. This. All right. Let's get on the record in Ms. Boykin's case. It's 25 SC 005-234. Ms. Boykin is here with, what's the name of the person in your lap? Kiana is here with Kiana, and who is seated next to you? Oriana, and Ms. Wood, her lawyer. Ms. Smith is here for the state, and Ms. Boykin, Ms. Wood told me you're ready to enter a plea in your case. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Ms. Smith will put you under oath in just a moment and then ask you a bunch of questions about your case. Please answer those as best you can, and also let me or Ms. Wood know if you've got any questions. Will you do that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Ms. Smith?
Yes, Judge, before I start, would you like to know about the reductions in no process in this case?
I would, but let me get the case up on my screen first, please. Yes, I'm guessing there are some. Okay,
Judge, count 1 and count 2 will be no process in this case. Count 3 will be amended to theft by receiving stolen property. That's OCGA 1687.
and is that a felony level theft by receiving?
It is, yes.
Okay, so dismiss, and then amend theft by receiving.
Yes.
Got it.
Ms. Boykin, please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you shall give in the matter currently before this court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, you can lower your hand. Please state your true, correct, and legal name for the court.
Kiara Boykin?
Are you at this time taking or under the influence of any alcohol, drugs, or medicine?
No.
And is there any medication that you would normally take that you haven't been given today?
No.
How old are you and how far have you gone in school?
I'm 28 and I completed the 10th grade, but I'm in trucking school.
You're in what?
Trucking school?
You are now in trucking school?
Yes, sir.
Are you able to read, write, and understand the English language?
Yes.
Do you understand that you have the right to plead either guilty or not guilty to these charges? And if you plead not guilty or remain silent, you may receive a jury trial.
Yes.
Have you had enough time to speak with your attorney about all of the facts and circumstances known to you regarding the charges in this indictment?
Yes.
Do you need more time to discuss your case with your attorney?
No.
And are you satisfied with her services?
Yes.
Counsel, are you satisfied that your client has a full understanding of this proceeding?
I am.
Also, do you waive the formal reading of the indictment and any and all defense in the indictment for the purpose of this plea?
So wait.
Ms. Boykin, do you remember being arrested on these charges?
Yes.
The state is unaware of any outstanding warrants related to these charges. Are you or your attorney aware of any outstanding warrants related to these charges?
No.
Do you understand that this is a negotiated plea of guilty, which means that the state will recommend to the court a sentence of 5 years probation?
Yes.
Do you also understand that the court does not have to accept that recommendation and that the court can sentence you to the maximum on this charge?
Yes.
Do you understand that if you're placed on probation of any kind, you cannot violate any criminal laws of any governmental unit or any special conditions of probation without being subject to revocation for the balance of the sentence?
Yes.
Do you understand that this is a guilty plea, which is permanently recorded on your criminal history?
Yes.
Do you also understand that if you're charged with a crime in the future, this plea can be used to enhance that sentencing, including on a federal case?
Yes.
Are you currently on probation?
Yes.
Your Honor, the state's understanding that although Ms. Boykin is currently on probation, this case will not be a violation because it happened before she pled to the case she's on probation for.
That's right. I've just been looking at the jail records and there's a 10-year probated case from Judge Leffridge, 25 SC 000186. But that incident happened later.
Yes.
She's in jail for a long time for that and is now on probation.
Yes.
Okay.
Ms. Boykin, do you understand, oh, I'm sorry, are you a United States citizen?
Yes.
Do you understand that there may be other adverse or unfavorable consequences as a result of this guilty plea conviction, just as there would be following a conviction from a trial? For example, your guilty plea may affect your right to vote, the right to hold public office, the right to serve on a jury, the right to obtain a passport, or the ability to obtain employment.
Yes.
Do you also understand that by pleading guilty to a felony, you cannot use, receive, possess, transport, or own a firearm, and that if you did, you could be charged with another felony offense?
Yes.
Do you understand that you waive any and all defenses, including any mental health defenses, by entering this plea of guilty?
Yes.
Do you understand that by pleading guilty, you're giving up the following rights: the right to a trial by jury, the right to remain silent and not incriminate yourself, the right to see and hear the witnesses called to testify against you, the right to the assistance of counsel, either hired by your court appointed if you cannot afford an attorney, the right to the presumption of innocence, which means that the state must prove beyond a reasonable doubt that you're guilty of these charges, the right to testify on your own behalf or remain silent, the right to present other evidence of your own and call your own witnesses, and the right to appeal if convicted of these charges after a trial.
Yes.
Counsel, are you satisfied that your client understands that these are the rights that they'll be waiving by entering this guilty plea?
I am.
Ms. Boykin, has anyone forced, threatened, or promised you anything to get you to enter into this guilty plea today?
No.
As to indictment number 25 SC 005234, how do you plead to the amended counts of count 3, theft by receiving stolen property?
Guilty by best interest.
Is this guilty plea freely and voluntarily given with full knowledge of the charges against you?
Yes.
Do you understand that you do not have a right to appeal directly from your guilty plea? But if you believe that there is some error in your guilty plea, you can apply to the appropriate appellate court to request a discretionary appeal.
Yes.
Do you also understand that that has to be completed within 30 days from today?
Yes.
Do you understand that you have only 4 years from today to file a habeas corpus petition challenging the voluntariness of this plea?
Yes.
Thank you, Ms. Boykin. Your Honor, if this case were to proceed to trial, the state would show that on March 25th, 2024, Officer Cowins, that's Cowins, from the Atlanta Police Department responded to 1870 Myrtle Drive Southwest in regard to a robbery. When the officer got there, they spoke with Jose Juan Soto Aguilera, that was the victim in this case, who told the officer that he was robbed by a black male wearing a black shirt, blue jeans, and boots. The victim told the officers that the male exited from a blue Ford Explorer with a Georgia tag that came back to be registered by the defendant in this case. The victim stated that the guy who got out of the car walked over to him, presented a black gun, and started making movement and gestures with his handgun. The victim in this case does not speak English. However, he was able to, through a translator, tell the officers that based on the handgun and the gestures that this guy was making, he knew that what was suggested was a robbery. At that time, the person who got out of the car took the victim's power tools, his bag, and also the hand tools that he had. The person then got back into the car, the Explorer, and they drove away. At this time, the officers were at the scene and they saw the exact same car that came to take the victim's tools, in this case, come back into the apartment complex. At that time, the victim and also the witnesses at this location pointed the car out as the car being the one that came and had the person inside that robbed the victim in this case. Once the person or the people in the car saw the officers, they then exited the apartment complex. There were 3 people in the car. The driver was the defendant in this case, Ms. Kiera Boykin. The passenger was Mr. Jarvis. I'll get his last name in a minute. And the person in the back was unidentified. However, that was the person who was identified as the person who committed this robbery in this case. The officers then followed the car that came into the apartment complex and left. They found the car at another apartment complex that was directly across the street. When they went to that location, they found Ms. Boykin in the car with the passenger Jarvis. However, that third person was missing. The officers then detained them and asked them about the situation, where they both denied that a robbery occurred, that the person that they picked up, who was that person in the back seat, was the one that got out of the car and then got back in. So from the read of the case and also body cam, the officers were able to identify that the person in the back was named TikTok. They did not get a name, a real name, a birthday, anything like that. So they were not able to run any type of searches or find out where he stayed. However, that person TikTok was no longer at the scene. The officers then did a show up where they took Ms. Boykin and the person who was in the passenger seat back to the incident location where the victim in this case did identify them two as being two people that were in the car. However, they were not the two people that committed the robbery in this case. Upon further research in this case and following up with the victim and also the passenger in the car, it was told to the state that the person TikTok who was in the back was now deceased. However, since we do not have a name for him, a birthday, anything, we were not able to run that name, get a death certificate or anything like that. However, up until now, he still has not been identified by either Atlanta Police Department or the DA's office because we don't have any information from him. In this case, the state did null pros counts 1 and 2 because of some evidentiary issues that we had. We did initially talk with the victim in this case and his cousin because we needed a translator who kind of corroborated what the police report stated. However, after that, we've not been able to make contact with the victim. It's been very hard. We have a good number for him. We're just not able to talk to him. And being able to talk to him also means talking to his cousin who's able to translate for us. Also with the person who was identified as TikTok, who committed the robbery in this case, we're not able to identify him or find out where he stays. Regarding count 3 with that theft by receiving stolen property, it's the state's understanding that Ms. Boykin, to a certain extent, knew that TikTok got out of the car to approach the victim in this case and got back in with a bag. However, it's the state's contention that she did not know there was a robbery going on or that TikTok had a gun in this situation. But what she did do was after TikTok got back into the car, he asked her to go to the pawn shop and she went to the pawn shop and pawned those hand and power tools. So because of that, the state is moving forward on count 3, which is theft by receiving stolen property. However, with count 1 and count 2, based on the facts and circumstances of the case and the evidence or lack thereof that the state has, we'll be moving to null pros counts 1 and 2. Regarding the recommendation in this case, the state is asking for 5 years of probation for count 3 and also for the defendant to complete an anti-theft course and also for the defendant to stay away from the incident location. And that's all from the state, Your Honor.
And what was the street? Merlin Drive?
Myrtle.
Myrtle.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So did Mr. Soto Aguilera's property ever get recovered because we knew which pawn shop it went to?
Yes, they found out what pawn shop, went back and got those items and returned them to the victim in this case.
Got it. So he was made whole. The pawn shop may have been out of some money if they gave money to TikTok. Okay. Interesting story. Thank you. Ms. Simpson, as I see it, Ms. Boykin is on probation, maybe in 2 cases. Yes, in the 186 case, but that final disposition indicated that it would run concurrently with a case ending in 027. Okay, and it looks like there's a bunch of probation left on that. What was the 027 case about?
They are both cases.
Oh.
They judge never saw both of them in the same disposition date.
Okay.
I don't know in regards to the information in regards to anything of those cases.
That's okay. So they were consolidated by Judge Lethbridge. Okay, thank you. Ms. Wood.
Thank you, Judge. So Ms. Boykin has been one of my most proactive clients. She has been plugged in from the get-go, and so I appreciate Ms. Smith working with us on this case. She was actually at the time, she was giving rides to people. They would give her cash, so like a cash Uber situation. When she was in that area that day, this person TikTok came up to the vehicle, already had the stolen goods. So she actually didn't participate in any type of robbery. It wasn't unusual from my speaking with her and the other person, Jarvis. This TikTok individual was like sort of like a handyman type of person. So it wasn't unusual that he like came and got in the car with like a bag of tools, right? And so then she did give him the ride to the pawn shop, all that good stuff. But she's been adamant the whole time. She never participated in a robbery. So again, we appreciate Ms. Smith. Judge, she has 3 children, ages 6, 3, and 9 months old. As you heard, she is participating in trucking school right now. She's just eager to move forward with her life. She's working with Mary Hall Freedom House as well as Motherhood Behind Bars. And it seems like she's doing well with both of those programs. And so we would just ask that you accept the state's recommendation in this case. I would ask for a behavioral incentive date if the court is inclined. I know she's got the other issues going on as well. But she did want me to ask for that as well, Judge.
Okay.
She's on first offender probation, so she actually will initially.
Okay.
Okay. Ms. Boykin, is Mary Hall Freedom House providing you housing?
Yes.
Okay, how long have you been there?
Well, I came there July 1st and I gave birth July 2nd, so I've been there for 9 months.
How long will they let you stay there?
It's permanent supportive housing.
That's great. So where is your 9-month-old right now?
Right here. You mean my 6-year-old?
Well, I thought you had a 6-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 9-month-old.
He right here.
Oh, okay. So there are only 2 kids here. There's a kid missing.
Currently I have a custody case with one of the victims from the aggravated assault, which is my child father.
Is that Brian Powell?
No, they worded it wrong. It's Dominique Dozier. So I'm going through a custody case with his mother right now. And I did everything I was supposed to do. So I'm just waiting for the judge to give me my daughter back.
Got it. That's the family division. There's mention in this final disposition from Judge Leffridge that there's a family division. I guess that's the custody situation.
Yes, sir.
So who's Brian Powell?
It's the case from a different aggravated assault.
Okay, who's Brian Powell?
Someone that spit on me.
Okay, and Kateria Powell?
His girlfriend.
And then, I don't know how to pronounce the first name. Dunlap, yeah.
They was all.
That was one group.
Of people, yeah.
Okay, so it's the other case, the case ending in 027 that involves the father of your child?
Yes.
Okay, got it. And is your child with him or?
No, she's with his mother.
With his mother, okay. And you're working to get custody of, is this a boy or a girl?
It's a girl.
Okay. All right, so you got 3 kids. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. And you are supporting them right now. Are you doing some trucking or you're hoping to get your CDL?
I got my permit. I kind of shut down because of the things that was going on with this case. So I haven't really been going, but I go to the Zooms online, but I haven't been going in person.
Okay.
So I was trying to resume that because I got accepted into an apprenticeship program through the Georgia Department of Labor. So whenever I get my license, I can go on a paid apprenticeship,
What do you need to do to get your license?
go to school.
Oh, okay.
More often to do the physical pre-trip inspection.
Oh, do you mean once you get your CDL?
No.
Just your plain old driver's license?
No, I need to go to do the pre-trips inspections.
Uh-huh.
And then I have to do like some more training on the simulator, like back and parallel parking.
Sure. Okay. And then that gets you said you need to get your license. You're talking about a commercial driver's license?
Yes,
Okay, that's the goal.
yes.
But to do that, you need to do all these in-person things where you're backing the truck up and all that.
Right, I have the permit though.
Okay. How's that gonna work with with your kids? If you're driving to Ohio with a truckload of goods?
My child father can help me.
Okay, you have a support plan in place.
Yes.
Good, okay. I'm not being nosy. I'm just want to make sure you.
I also want to file for my LLC so that I can start my own trucking company.
Great.
I really want to buy a box truck.
Okay, and keep it local.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, it sounds like you've got a plan. You just need to stay out of some of these mix-ups that have been holding you back. What do you think's going to be different going forward?
Me knowing that I can't do more trouble. And I'm also in figure management through, she didn't mention, but I'm in police alternative divisions. That's who got me here.
Right.
And that's kind of why I'm late, because they helped me get here and
Great.
got me to the wrong address.
Okay,
But I'm doing my inner management through them. So I think it'd be different because I have housing and I have the support I need. And
great.
I have nobody around me really but my kids.
Okay, well, they're going to keep you busy. Your oldest is in school somewhere?
Yeah, she's in school.
Good, okay, and her father's mom is local, like, are you able to see your oldest, or?
Well, yes, I have visitation through defects. You know
Okay.
how they give you, weekend
Yep.
visits, but
Yep,
they haven't turned to overnight yet. So I'm trying to get them to be overnight so that she can get used to where I live at.
good, okay, and is there room for all four of you?
Yes,
Good, all right, do you have any questions about what we've been doing here today in court?
I mean, I don't have any questions, but I would like to say that I'm completely innocent and that I would never do anything like that. My prior convictions are from, I'm not gonna say that armed robbery isn't violent, but that's more of like a violent death act. But my convictions are mostly violence from people that I had encounters with. I don't just walk up to people and rob people. That's not even in my nature.
Okay, and I didn't hear the state say you were the armed robber. It would have been at worst for you an accomplice. But it sounds like in the end, you were a driver of a guy who had some stolen merchandise. And because you drove him to the pawn shop, you kind of were an accessory to his crime. Had you ever heard of this TikTok guy?
Yes,
Is he dead?
yes.
How'd he die?
He died from, somebody shot him in the head from basically going in people's cars. That's what the WSBTV, that's what it said, and there's,
So you know his real name?
no.
No. How do you know that? Because WSTV wouldn't have said TikTok's dead.
A local area where he,
Did his stuff.
and that's where, when I'm homeless, I usually be in that area because I'm not from here and that's the only area I really know of.
Yeah.
So he's definitely dead.
Where did you grow up?
Carrollton.
Okay,
Well, Temple, I lived in Temple my whole life.
okay. All right, do you still have family there?
Yes,
But you want to be here at Mary Hall Freedom House for now?
yeah, I'm adopted.
Okay. Well, Ms. Boykin, I'm impressed with the way you're trying to move forward. I hope that the trucking business works for you, whether it's you getting your CDL and working for someone else or you starting your own company and working for yourself. You've got some significant responsibilities with the kids. I hope you take those seriously as you're charting your course forward. And you are definitely, you need to be done getting in trouble. You've used up your first offender, there's this, but these are all older. This was from 24, so it's 2 years ago. And so I'm hopeful you are turning a corner, and I wish you the best with that. I find there's a factual basis for your plea to theft by receiving. You were arguably and probably legally a party to the crime of theft by receiving, not armed robbery, and the state's dismissed that charge. I also find that your plea is knowing and voluntary. Knowing means you've understood the things that Ms. Smith was talking about. Is that a fair statement?
Yes,
And voluntary means no one's forcing you to enter this plea. Do you agree with that?
yes, sir.
Okay. Ms. Wood, can someone in my office sign the indictment for you?
Yes, Judge.
Ms. Smith?
Yes, Judge.
And Ms. Boykin, well, I know that your daughter would love to sign the documents. Is it okay if we do that electronically for you?
Yes.
Because we can't do highlighters. Okay. All right. I will follow the joint recommendation and sentence you to 5 years to the one remaining count 3. That will be probated. You will need to stay away from Myrtle Drive and complete an anti-theft course. Probation can help you line that up. You'll just have you have a probation officer now?
Yes,
Good.
Officer Nancy.
Great. Everything just gets bundled into one. You don't have multiple probation officers. And I'm gonna leave it at that. Ms. Smith, anything else on behalf of the state?
Nothing further, thank you.
Ms. Wood?
No, Judge, thank you.
Ms. Simpson, what does Ms. Boykin need to do to report, if you will, for this additional case?
So, Ms. Boykin, you need to contact Officer Yancey, within 48 hours, but I'm giving you a report date. April 22nd at 8 a.m.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you know where the probation office is?
Yes,
Okay. So even though you're already on probation, they need to get this case plugged into the system, and that involves you showing up in person at the address just a few blocks from here at 8 on, was it April 22nd?
Yes.
Yeah. And Ms. Wood's writing that down for you. Don't miss that. Officer Yancey will expect you to be at that. Do you have any questions about any of the stuff we talked about?
No, sir.
Okay, good luck with everything.
Thank you.
All right. Someone's gonna be sad to have to give up those pens.
He's gonna take them with him.
Ooh, bonus.
Okay. No, okay. No.
Judge.
Hmm?
Oh, I'll need you to get back to us.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for lining these things up.
Oh, thank you.
Let's take it to yourself. Let's go to yourself.
Thank you.
Good luck.
We can resume.
Ms. Boykin, if you could come back up here, please.
Mr. Joyner?
I'm sorry, Ms. Joyner. I got the wrong piece of paper on top. Ms. Joyner, if you'd come back up here, please. Do you miss the days when your kids were that little? Or are you glad they can manage themselves?
I'm actually happy that they, at the age they are now. I got a graduation this year, and then my son going to welding school.
That's great. Well, who's graduating?
My 14-year-old,
Oh, from middle school?
yes,
Where the 15-year-old goes to what
she
school?
go to Stone Mountain High.
Okay. I have a 15-year-old. Is she a freshman?
Yes,
Yeah, same. But he can take care of some of his business. It's not quite like, I don't need to give him 5 pens to keep him occupied. So, did you, Ms. Joyner, have an opportunity to speak with Ms. Rios about what you want to do?
yes,
Do you want to go forward with the sentence or withdraw your plea?
I'm gonna go for it.
Okay. Then I think we are all set. I'll make sure to get the paperwork signed today. Did you have any questions for me, or Ms. Rios was able to address your questions?
Yeah, she was able to.
Okay.
She didn't want me to let you know, she showed me the proof that he's going to welding school. She wanted to make sure you believed it.
No, you know what? I was actually going to ask if sometimes I have this phone here, we call people. I'm like, hey, I heard you're going to welding school. That's so exciting. When is it? And he's, oh, August 10th. That would be bad. But if you showed Ms. Rios, that is sufficient for me. I'm glad things are going to go all right for him. I want to close with this repeated admonition. You've heard me say it before, but you need to make sure you are doing your level best to stay out of Ms. Webb's business. And I don't say that because I think you're going to try to be in her business. It is clear to me that it was a complicated triangle. And it led to a lot of grief for her, and it's led to a lot of grief for you. And maybe in the end, Mr. Sims bears responsibility for that, but we're not here to allocate fault that way. You just need to make sure you're doing what you can to stay in your lane.
Yeah.
And if you feel like someone's encroaching on your lane, just let Ms. Rios know and we'll work through that.
I definitely will.
Okay? Ms. Simpson, do you need to talk with Ms. Joyner? Okay, so Ms. Joyner, if you step outside with Ms. Simpson, she's with probation. She's just going to give you reporting instructions, where to be and when, all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
All right? Thanks, Ms. Rios. Yes, ma'am. Ms. Webb, well, Ms. Nix, just stick around for 1 second. It is equally important that you are allowed to stay in your lane. I need to make sure that if you have any concerns that someone is violating this absolute prohibition of having contact with you, direct or indirect, and that would involve someone relying on an intermediary to reach out to you to say, oh, Joyner's mad at you, or Joyner's sorry, anything like that, that you'll reach out to Ms. Nix to let her know if something like that happens. Will you do that?
Oh, absolutely.
Good. I didn't doubt it, but I wanted to make sure that that was on your radar, okay?
I have one last thing. I do want to prevent her from even texting the number that she has access to as far as when it comes to Mr. Sims.
I want to make sure I'm understanding what you're saying. You're saying you want Ms. Joyner not to text Mr.
To
Sims.
contact that number, period, because that number also belongs to me as well.
Is Mr. Sims someone who's still present in your life?
Yes, we live together.
Okay. Well, that's a fair request that Ms. Joyner ought to not have a whole lot of contact with Mr. Sims. You have any issue with that, Ms. Rios?
She doesn't want to have contact with Sim, but we should let her know.
Yep. Good. So if you just grab her. Ms. Webb, it's important that you flag that. Thank you. We're going to get Ms. Joyner back in here so I can.
Contacting him right now. That's not true.
Well, no one said she wasn't contacting him. I'm going to explain to her that she needs to not do that.
Thank you.
Okay.
All my dollars.
Next assignment.
Is that Mr. Sims? Hey, Ms. Joyner.
Yes.
One last thing. It was brought to my attention that it probably creates a crisper and cleaner line of you're going in your direction and Ms. Webb is going in her direction if you not have contact with Mr. Sims either. Is that problematic for you?
No.
Okay, great. So you need to not text him or call him or anything.
Can you let her know to tell her now boyfriend not to text me?
Yep, it needs to be a two-way street.
Block him on everything.
Good, okay, then we're all clear. Thank you, Ms. Joyner. Thank you, Ms. Webb. And Ms. Webb, you need to let Mr. Sims know not to be a rabble rouser and be reaching out to Ms. Joyner. If he does that, you need to send him packing, okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mm-hmm. Am I dismissed?
Yes, ma'am. Well, you were always free to go, but I appreciate that you were here. So you're welcome to stay on. I have a plea in a completely different case, but you're also free to go.
But one thing I didn't quite understand her charges, but that's neither here nor there. That's something for her to deal with. It's okay.
Okay.
I'm just glad it's over with. Thank you.
You bet. Take care of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Bye-bye. It is a preview. I've had a couple cases recently that are the people weren't married, and so it's not a divorce, and so they're in here and they're trying to divide up. Like, we owned a house together, and we were going to have this, and now they had a kid, and so they're fighting over the kid, but they're in here, and it's going to take a lot.
I was sitting with this attorney that I was just kind of new. He let me sit with him, and it was this lesbian couple who bought this is 2014, so they couldn't be married. And they bought a car together, and the plaintiff attorney just would not say that they were a lesbian couple. He was like, they're roommates. And like, his client got there like, yeah, we were a couple. Every witness in us said we were a couple. And I was like, I told the attorney I was sitting with, I didn't do anything, so it's like, you need to be like, my parents are couples, our roommates. Me and my wife are roommates. It's just roommates.
Are you ready with Mr. Rosser? Can he be at the podium since you've got support? You got full tactical support. I saw it coming in, ready for anything. World Cup's still not for a few months. You don't have to be all decked out. Always be prepared. You probably didn't think, Ms. Willingham, you'd still be here at 11, huh? Hopefully you've been able to do work. You guys bring your laptops and you.
Well, I actually did bring a whole lot with me because I thought, oh, it's gonna be a quick day.
Yeah.
I never think that in here.
How are you? Want to go for the plea today?
I remember you, Mr. Rosser, from the video. You do the Napoleon thing with your hand.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you keep doing it. Then I just like, wait, I remember this guy. I was like, are you okay?
Oh, yeah.
It's all good. Ms. Rivers, you good to go for one more plea?
Yes, I am. A little overstimulated, but I'm ready.
Okay. All right. This is 25 SC 003 817, State versus Rosser. Mr. Rosser is here with Ms. Rios, and we have Ms. Willingham for the state. And Mr. Rosser, Ms. Rios, actually, you were supposed to be the one plea for today, and then it morphed into a bunch of others. She's told me you're ready to enter a plea in your case. Is that correct?
Right.
Okay, we're going to do that. Ms. Willingham will put you under oath, and then she's going to ask you questions about your case and your rights. You need to answer those questions truthfully and completely and in full sentences. If you've got any questions, someone says something that doesn't make sense, you need to let me know. Will you do that?
Okay, I will.
Good. All right, let's go.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you shall give in the matter currently before this court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Correct.
You can put your hand down. Please state your true, correct, and legal name.
My name is Jaquez Toronto Rosser.
Your middle name is Toronto?
No,
Like-
Toronto. With an A.
Got it.
Are you at this time taking or under the influence of any alcohol, drugs, or medicine?
No, I'm not.
How old are you and how far have you gone in school?
28 in college.
Are you able to read, write, and understand the English language?
Yes, I am.
Do you understand that you have a right to plead either guilty or not guilty to these charges? And if you plead not guilty or remain silent, you may receive a jury trial?
Right.
Have you had enough time to speak with your lawyer about all of the facts and circumstances known to you regarding the charges in this indictment, including any potential defenses?
Yes.
Do you need any more time to discuss this case with your attorney?
No.
Are you satisfied with her services?
Yes.
Counsel, are you satisfied your client has a full understanding of this proceeding?
Yes.
Have you reviewed the indictment in this case with your client?
Yes.
Do you waive formal reading of the indictment?
Yes.
Has your client been arrested on these charges?
Yes.
The state is unaware of any outstanding warrants related to these charges. Do you or your client know of any outstanding warrants related to these charges?
No.
Do you understand that, I'm sorry, Mr. Rosser, do you understand that this is a negotiated plea of guilty, which means the state will recommend to the court a sentence of 3 years to serve 2 months overall, as which you would be given credit for the time you've done in custody. And if I remember correctly, when I looked, that should be equivalent to the 2 months. As to count one, it would be 3 years to serve 2 months. As to count two, serve 2 months concurrent to count one. As to count three, 12 months to serve 2 months concurrent to count one. Are there, I'm sorry, I don't have the indictment in front of me.
And then
There are
count 4 is
Okay.
criminal trespass.
One of my emails I messed up, so I wanted to make sure. As to count 4, serve 2 months concurrent to count one. You would be required to have no contact with the victim, complete family violence intervention program,
No contact or no violent contact?
no violent contact.
Okay,
No. This is Rosser. No contact.
no contact.
No contact.
And they are co-parents? I mean, co-parents is the wrong term. They have a child together?
They do, Your Honor, but if you recall, this is the case where the child is actually with Mr. Rosser's mom, I believe, and
We'll work through it, but you meant to say no
I
contact.
meant to say no contact.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, so if you'd start again, so the special conditions are no contact,
Contact with the victim, complete family violence intervention program, complete 60 hours of community service, seek and maintain gainful employment, and there's a stay away, Your Honor, and I will get you, I think I've already sent over the updated address. The address in my email is incorrect, but I believe I sent that information. I'll send it again.
okay.
Because it should be in the bond order, the original. Well, no, we didn't enter it.
No, there's an order granting bond from from April 9th. So let me see if it's in there. And that's the address that Mr. Rosser would need to stay away from?
Yes, Judge.
No, it's not. This is one of the ones where it says the court will supply the address to the electronic monitoring company.
Yes.
So if you could email that to Ms. Hansberry, she is doing the
Yes.
dispositions today.
I will.
Thanks.
Okay. And is that what was explained to you by your attorney, Mr. Rosser?
Correct.
Are you aware that the court does not have to accept that recommendation and the court can sentence you to the maximum sentence on each charge and can run those sentences consecutively or one after the other?
Yes.
Do you understand that if you are placed on probation of any kind, you cannot violate any criminal laws of any governmental unit or any special conditions of probation without being subject to the revocation for the balance of the sentence?
Yes, I do.
Do you understand that this is a guilty plea which is permanently recorded on your criminal history?
This will be first offender, but.
Yes.
Do you understand that this plea may be used to enhance sentencing on other convictions in this jurisdiction as well as in other jurisdictions, including in the federal courts?
Yes.
Are you on probation or parole for anything anywhere?
No, I'm not.
Are you a United States citizen?
Yes, I am.
Do you understand that there may be other adverse or unfavorable consequences as a result of this guilty plea conviction, just as there would be from a conviction following a trial? For example, your guilty plea may affect the right to vote, the right to hold public office, the right to serve on a jury, the right to obtain a passport, the right to receive, possess, or transport a firearm, or the ability to obtain employment.
Can you repeat that again?
Do you understand that there may be other adverse or unfavorable consequences as a result of this guilty plea conviction, just as there would be from a conviction following a trial? For example, your guilty plea may affect the right to vote, the right to hold public office, the right to serve on a jury, the right to obtain a passport, the right to receive, possess, or transport a firearm, or the ability to obtain employment.
Right. Yes.
Do you understand that by pleading guilty to a felony, if you use, receive, possess, or transport a firearm, or use a firearm in a crime, you will be guilty of another felony, which may carry a sentence of 1 to 15 years in prison?
Yes.
Do you understand that you are not allowed to possess or use a firearm while on probation, even if sentenced pursuant to the First Offender Act?
Yes.
Are you asking to be treated as a first offender under the provisions of the First Offender Act?
Yes, I am.
Have you ever pled guilty or nolo or ever been convicted of a felony in the state of Georgia or any other jurisdiction?
No.
Have you ever been sentenced for a crime, felony, or misdemeanor under the First Offender Act?
No.
Has your lawyer explained the First Offender Act to you?
Yes.
Do you understand that if you violate the terms of your first offender sentence or commit a new offense while on first offender probation, your first offender status could be revoked, you could be adjudicated guilty, and you could be resentenced up to the maximum sentence for each charge in this indictment?
Yes, I do.
Do you understand that you waive any and all defenses, including any mental health defenses, by entering a plea of guilty?
Can you repeat that again?
Do you understand that you waive any and all defenses, including any mental health defenses, by entering a plea of guilty?
I do. Right.
Do you understand that by pleading guilty, you are giving up the following rights: the right to a trial by jury, the right to remain silent and not incriminate yourself, the right to confront witnesses against you, the right to the assistance of counsel hired by you or to court-appointed counsel if you cannot afford an attorney at a trial of your case, the right to the presumption of innocence, the right to testify on your own behalf and to present other evidence, the right to subpoena witnesses and compel the production of evidence, the right to have the charges against you proved beyond a reasonable doubt, and the right to appeal if convicted of these charges after a trial.
Yes.
Has anyone forced, threatened, or promised you anything to get you to enter a guilty plea?
No.
Is it your decision to waive these rights and enter a guilty plea because you are in fact guilty?
Was it guilty under offered?
Guilty under offered.
Are you pleading guilty because you have decided that it is in your best interest to do so?
Somewhat, yes.
When you say somewhat, so an offered plea, that's sort of code for, you know what, Judge, I don't agree with everything the state says I did, but I want to work this out. And based on the offer I've received, I've decided that it's in my best interest, meaning Mr. Rosser's best interest, to take this deal rather than sit in jail. And because you can have a trial, you have an absolute right to a trial. And a few months down the road, we could get 12 jurors in here. And the state would have to prove that back in March of 24, you hit Ms. Berrien, you hit an officer, the officer would come in and say, here's what happened, there'd probably be body cam. We could do all that trial, or you can decide to enter a plea. Sometimes someone says, yeah, I did it, I'm guilty. Sometimes someone says, that's not exactly how it went down, but it's in my best interest to take this offer. Does that describe your situation?
Yes, I'm willing to take the offer.
Okay, so you are pleading because you've decided it's in your best interest to do so.
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Are you aware that even if you do not admit guilt, this is a plea of guilty and places you in the same position as if you were convicted by a jury at a trial?
Yes.
How do you plead to the charges of willful obstruction of law enforcement officer, cruelty to children in the third degree, battery, and criminal trespass and damage to property in indictment 25 SC 003817?
Guilty under offer.
Guilty on the offer.
Is this guilty plea freely and voluntarily given with full knowledge of the charges against you?
Yes. Yes.
You do not have a right to appeal directly from your guilty plea, but if you believe there is some error in your guilty plea, you can apply to the appropriate appellate court to request a discretionary appeal. The discretionary appeal procedure is outlined in OCGA 5-6-35 and must be completed within 30 days of today. Do you understand?
Oh, sorry.
Do you understand that you have only 4 years from today for a felony charge and 12 months from today for a misdemeanor charge to file a habeas corpus petition challenging the voluntariness of this guilty plea?
Yes.
Your Honor, if this case were to proceed to trial, the state would expect to show that on March 11, 2024, officers responded to 2909 Campbellton Road, Southwest, apartment 28D, Atlanta, Georgia, in Fulton County, in reference to a fight. Upon arrival, officers were able to speak with the victim, Ms. Barron. She stated that the defendant kicked down her apartment front door when she refused to let him in. Officers observed the door was kicked in, completely removed from its hinges, and the victim stated that the defendant entered her apartment and began an argument with her about certain contents he discovered in her phone. He then attempted to forcefully take his 1-year-old child from the victim's arms against her will. Ms. Harris, the victim's grandmother, stated that she saw and witnessed the argument between her granddaughter and the defendant while they were inside the apartment. Subsequently,
It's okay.
That's why you took an offer.
Ms. Barron stated that in an attempt to get away from her angry child's father, she climbed through one of the apartment windows and fled toward a parking lot with her child. She stated that while she was in the parking lot, Mr. Rosser intentionally caused physical harm to her by hitting her in the face with his hand during a scuffle. She stated that she sustained injuries to her mouth. Blood was visible on her lips to officers. The couple's 1-year-old child sustained minor scratches on the right side of her head and the left side of her face. Grady treated Ms. Barron for her injuries. And while officers were continuing their investigation, Ms. Harris stated the neighbors witnessed the physical altercation. Sorry, 1 second. Initially, when officers arrived on scene, they noticed a male running away from the incident location. Officers attempted to make contact with that subject, but he kept running away from the officers towards the tree line. Additional officers came on scene to assist with locating him. A few minutes after, officers started to search the line. And while two of the officers were attempting to detain the officers were able to search the line, subsequently finding Mr. Rosser. And as they were attempting to detain him, he was accused of striking Officer Dorso on the left side of his face. The accused was ultimately tasered by Officer Dorso and subsequently taken into custody.
Oh.
Well, he was taken to Grady. And Your Honor, I spoke with Ms. Barron.
Can you spell her name for Ms. Rivers?
Yes, I'm sorry, let me go back to it.
I'm happy to spell it if I got it right. It's B as in Bravo, E-R-R-I-E-N.
That is correct.
Okay.
And Your Honor, I spoke with her when the defendant was initially picked up or whenever he was on our first calendar. I spoke with her before that date. And at that time, she expressed that she wanted the defendant to get in custody time. She expressed that they were still having issues. However, when I asked her specifically about what those issues were, they were really more issues that are family court related and not any more domestic violence issues. And based on the nature of this case, I believe that the family violence charges were properly charged as misdemeanors. And it was a willful obstruction. And I explained to her that typically this is how this case would resolve, and that it was not a case that I would typically offer a lot of jail time in. She did understand that. And she stated that she wanted there to be completely no contact. I have since tried to actually get back in touch with her, especially as we proceeded with having the bond hearing, and she has not followed back up with me. So at this time, the state would maintain that there needs to be no contact. It is now my understanding, as opposed to my initial understanding, was that the children were with the victim, but it is now my understanding they are with the defendant's mom. That was part of why I wanted to try and talk to the victim about that, but I was unable to reach her again.
Okay.
And I did review the defendant's criminal history. There are no prior felony offenses. He does have one pending willful obstruction, which is also why the state was not in agreement with reducing it to the misdemeanor.
Got it. Okay. All right. I appreciate all that. Ms. Simpson, do you have any records of Mr. Rosser being on felony probation? No? Okay. Ms. Rios?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Rosser is 28 years old. He has 3 children, ages 3, 1, and 3 months old. Prior to being in custody, he was working at Taco Bell. He was also attending a technical college studying cyber security. He also wants to get an LLC for a medical career. He also does music. I'm just asking that you accept the plea as negotiated. I do want to, and under first offender, he's been in for 57 days, not quite 2 months. So if you're inclined to just do 57 days, we can release earlier. That would be my request.
Okay. He's actually done a total of 86. He was in for 29 days when first arrested, and then he had a little failure to appear issue, and that got him the number you just mentioned, the 57. So he gets credit for all 86. I'm going to structure his sentence a little bit differently because of that, but in line with what you guys talked about. Anything else from you?
No, Your Honor.
Okay.
Oh, did you want to say something?
I have a question. Is that one, the FTA for the obstruction? What about that? Like, the one I haven't handled that separately.
Well, so no, the FTA is for this case, and that goes away since we're taking the plea.
Yeah, you missed court here once. That's why we had to do your bond all over again, but it turns out that the company had surrendered your bond.
Right.
And so Ms. Rio shared with me and with the prosecutor, probably you're not going to be able to post a brand new bond because the bonding company came off the old one, and you were prepared to, in your best interest, resolve the case. So
Okay.
that's why we're talking today.
So I have a question. So what about the instead of have a failure to appear for obstruction? Like, is it?
Wasn't it this case? It was the only case?
Yes, the
that-
failure to appear is for this case. The other willful obstruction is a separate case. It wasn't for this one.
So
Okay.
you'll be getting, that won't hold you in. You're
Right.
good on that. That goes away when you resolve the case.
Right. There is a misdemeanor case rattling around out there. You got arrested. Are you referring to the one from 23? That's the only,
No.
you have something more recent?
On his GCIRC reflects a, July 25.
Oh, okay.
Willful obstruction.
Well, it's South Fulton?
Yes.
Okay, so that's separate or?
Yeah, that's not this. The obstruction we're talking about was you were blowing up enough, these guys had to tase you. So you had a bad day on March 11th, 24.
Yeah, I did have a bad day.
That's all we're talking about here. We're not, whatever happened in July of 25, it may have been resolved. It may be South Fulton doesn't do anything with it. That ought not to be something that holds you in custody because, I don't know, you never got booked in the county jail for that.
Yeah, I did. They gave me a citation.
Done.
Yeah, so I'm just trying to see, will I have to,
You may have a court date. What you want to do, does someone still have that citation?
like at home or something?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
No, it's kind of, because I kind of moved out the house because we're remodeling the house. I don't have the paper, so.
Well, what you could do when you get out, and you'll be getting out real soon, is call South Fulton and say, hey, I had this arrest I got a citation back in July of 25, whenever it was. I don't want to be missing a court date. But be proactive about it, because if you aren't, they may mail it to this place where they're doing the renovations. And if that's the address they have on file, it's not their fault that you don't get the mail. And then they'll just do a bench warrant and.
Oh, so I don't have a bench warrant yet?
I don't, there's nothing showing in the system that you've got a bench warrant from South Fulton.
It just shows the FTA.
The FTA was this one.
Oh, okay.
This one. You missed court here.
Oh, because I thought, because when I asked at the county jail, they said, okay, I understand now. I totally understand.
Your FTA was for this case. You missed court for this case. And so I signed a bench warrant. That's why I caught up with you. You were arrested on February 18th of this year.
Correct.
I don't know why, but in part is because you had this warrant because you missed court.
Right.
Why did you get arrested on February 18th?
I got into an altercation at the store. I mean, at Target, basically.
With whom?
I got into an altercation
with
at Target.
I heard you say that, but with whom?
It was with someone like it was just something.
Someone you knew, or with like a Target employee?
It was just something dumb. I rather not discuss it though.
Okay, you don't need to discuss it, but you need to stop doing dumb things too,
right?
Because it's going to catch up to you. You're going to be on probation for a while, and if you want it to go smoothly, no dumb things while you're on probation.
Correct.
Okay.
Right.
So maybe stay out of Target. I don't know. That won't be a condition of your probation. Right. So I got questions for you. You have 3 kids.
Right.
One of them is only 3 months, so it must he or she, the 3-month-old. She was born, and then you've been in jail. Who's taking care of the 3-month-old?
Actually, she's with her mother.
And her mother is Ms. Berrien, or is someone else?
Her mother's not Ms. Berrien.
Okay.
No.
Is Ms. Berrien the mother of the 1-year-old?
Yes, the 1-year-old. I have a 1-year-old and a 2-year-old by her. I have a 3-year-old and I have a 1-year-old by her.
Through Ms. Berrien?
Through Ms. Berrien, yes.
And then you have a 3rd kid, that's the 3-month-old, who's with her mom.
Her mother, right. And
it's not Ms. Berrien.
Right. And so my son and my daughter, they're with my mom right now, you know.
Got it.
In Douglasville. So.
Not with Ms. Berrien?
No.
Got it.
No, not with Berrien.
Okay.
Judge, so the jail is showing he has a South Fulton vehicle.
Oh, he does have a hold. Okay, there was a foreign county listed here.
That's the South Fulton.
Okay, so when Mr. Rosser's done here, he'll go to South Fulton.
However that thing works out.
Yeah, okay.
That's what I want to know. Like, is it going to just stay here, or?
You will go to South Fulton and go to South Fulton Municipal Court and have a conversation about whatever that one's about.
But this is Fulton, though, right? I mean,
you're in Fulton County. Right. South Fulton is a city. It's just a funny name for a city in Fulton County. It used to be called Renaissance. Okay. That was a funny name too.
Right.
And so they shifted to South Fulton. So you are in Fulton County, but the South Fulton situation, it's not an indictment yet. It may never get there.
Right.
But it is a charge for which you need to appear in municipal court, city court, the city of South Fulton. And you're going to figure out what's going on with that. It may be they say, hey, if you do pay a fine of $50, because it's a citation, then we're done with it. It's called binding it over. They may say, actually, this is something we want to have go. If it's a misdemeanor, we'll go to state court here in this building. If it's a felony, it'll come up to Superior Court.
Right.
But stop number one is to go to court in the city of South Fulton.
Right.
And you have guaranteed passage there because they have a hold on you. So they will get you from the county jail and you'll go to city court and do whatever. You will be done here. So they either have to keep you or they'll say, hey, all right, we're gonna give you a bond, or you have to do community service or whatever you sort out with them.
Okay, right.
So it may be that you are released to, we'll call freedom from South Fulton rather than the county jail.
Okay. So look, enlighten me. I know it's a lot of questions. So enlighten me. So is that like East Point jail? Like you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't know where, does South Fulton have its own, do we know if South Fulton has?
I know when they get,
It's similar.
Yeah, it's not East Point per se. East Point has its own jail.
right.
And so I think South Fulton has its own, just South Fulton is a relatively new city. And I don't know if they have a jail or if they borrow beds from somewhere else.
Yeah, okay.
I'd be surprised if they already, maybe they built a jail. South Fulton hasn't existed all that long.
Right.
And as we all know, it takes a long time to build a new jail.
Right.
So,
It does.
those are all fair questions. And the person who might be able to answer it would be when you go back to the jail, like, hey, where am I going next?
Right.
What does that mean? Like, where do I spend the night if I'm with South Fulton?
Yeah, I asked that. They wasn't knowledgeable about it, so you know.
Okay, well, they'll become more knowledgeable because when I sign your sentence, they're gonna say, oh, look at that, you get out in a day. And then they have to deal with that hold, which means they call South Fulton and say, come get Mr. Rosser.
Okay.
All right?
All right, thank you.
So we covered your kids. You're in college for cybersecurity?
Correct.
All right, but you were working at Taco Bell.
Yeah, correct. I was the manager there for us.
Will you be able to get that back or that job's gone?
No, I think it's gone. I'm just gonna have to get another job, you know.
Okay. In Douglasville or is that kind of where you hang or where would work?
I mean, yeah, that's where I live. I mean, in Douglasville or probably in the city, because I be in the city, you know what I'm saying? So in Douglasville or either or, like whatever I can, you know.
Okay, I'm not limited. I was just curious if you were gonna sort of hang in Douglasville or if you'd be back here. All right, well, Mr. Rosser, I find that there's a factual basis for your plea. We seem to agree that March 11th was a bad day for you. You and Ms. Berrien got into it. You really took it out on that poor front door. And then it didn't go well with the officers. Is that the only time you've been tased?
Correct.
Yeah, how did that go?
I mean, I can't remember, you know.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, I didn't feel too good though, but.
All right. Nonetheless, you qualify for first offender despite all that. I am willing to sentence you as a first offender. I need to make sure you understand the risks and the benefit. The good part of first offender is this is not a conviction. If you leave here today as a first offender and you're thinking about going back to college or better yet, not better yet, or in addition, applying for a job, you don't have to check the box of I'm a convicted felon because you're not. You are a first offender probationer. And that's frankly nobody's business but yours and probation because it's not a conviction. If you can complete your sentence all the way, you can move to have it expunged, and that's all good for your future as a dad, as a musician, as a manager, whatever it is you want to do. Felony convictions can really hold you back.
Correct.
There's a downside to first offender though. If you do something dumb, like whatever happened in Target while you were on first offender probation, or what happened on March 11th with Ms. Berrien while you're on first offender probation, not only do you have a new arrest, but you come back in front of me and we have to talk about, do we just blow up the whole first offender thing? And the state will argue what they argue. And if they think that you should lose your first offender status because you've pled guilty, I can resentence you up to the maximum. I'm not saying I would do that, but it's a bunch of years. And so this relatively good situation you're getting right now could collapse into, oh, it's a 5-year sentence. Because you mess up your first offender.
Okay.
So if you think that at age 28, as a responsible dad, et cetera, you are done with the dumb situations, then first offender can work well. If you're not so sure how you're going to roll with all the things you're trying to do, first offender actually is a gamble because it can end poorly.
Right.
Do you feel like you understand the benefit of first offender and the risks?
I totally understand.
All right. And do you want to be sentenced as a first offender?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So Mr. Rosser, I do find there's a factual basis in your case, that your plea is knowing and voluntary. Ms. Rios, can someone in my office sign the indictment for you?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Willingham?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Rosser, can we electronically sign your name to the indictment?
Yes.
I will, for the most part, follow the recommendation that was negotiated here. On count one, I am sentencing you to 3 years to serve 3 months, because you actually get credit for both those blocks of time. Balance probated. And then your sentence for the 3 misdemeanors is 3 months to serve. They'll all run concurrently with the first sentence. So your total sentence is 3 years to serve 3 months, balance on probation. So you just shaved off a month of probation because you've been in jail a little longer than your lawyer thought. So you'll be on probation for 2 years and 9 months. Special condition of probation number 1, the most important one, no contact with Ms. Berrien.
Okay.
That means that if for some reason the way it shakes out with the kids is that they end up with her,
Right.
if you want to see them, someone other than you, your mom, someone else needs to coordinate with Ms. Berrien to get the kids. Now, if they're staying with your mom or they're staying with you, then that's a Ms. Berrien issue and not a you issue.
Right. Well, yeah. So the kids are staying with me and my mom. You know what I'm saying right now. So, but it's that. But what if she come around me? Because sometimes, like, she come like.
It's not meant to be a trap. It's not meant to be a trap. So if she comes around you, you want to record it and walk away and say like, hey, I don't know why you're walking around here, and go away from her and send it to Ms. Rios
So
saying.
how do I? So I can report it to like. How do I?
You let Ms. Rios know, assuming it's intentional. Now, if you're just walking down the street in Douglas, I don't know if she lives in Douglasville, but pretend she does. You're just walking down the street in Douglasville and she's walking down the street. That's a random encounter. She's not coming around you. But if you see her, you need to turn around and walk the other direction. But if you're at your place of work and every day she's showing up there, that's weird. And
Right.
she needs to not do that.
Right.
And that's why you would need to let Ms. Rios know, hey, I don't know, I don't want to get in trouble for this.
Right.
I'm working my shift and she shows up saying, I got a bad taco. That's not on you. And ultimately, Ms. Willingham or I would need to engage with Ms. Berrien saying, you asked for no contact. That means that you shouldn't be going around Mr. Rosser.
Right.
Now, she may change that. You heard Ms. Willingham say, I'm having a little trouble reaching Ms. Berrien. Because you have kids together, she may say, I just want no violent contact. I don't want him to put his hands on me. I don't want him to kick in my door, but we have kids. And so we're going to need to meet at the Kroger so I can give him the 2 kids and he can drive away. Or I need him to bring diapers. It needs to be okay that he comes to the house.
Right.
But the last time she spoke her mind, it was, I do not want Mr. Rosser around any way, shape, or form.
Yeah. I mean, correct. I just, yeah.
So
Sometimes the female can be a problem too. And they can manipulate the system and make it like the guy the problem. I don't know. Just
those females.
Right.
So you just need to not respond to texts. If you get texts, you need to just be careful, okay?
Okay.
But we're not going to assume that Ms. Berrien is interested in reaching out to you at all. If it starts to happen, you let Ms. Rios know.
Okay.
So no contact with her. You need to complete the Family Violence Intervention Program. That is a series of classes, it's not just one. And you need to enroll within the first 3 months of probation. So I don't want you waiting until you got 4 months left and then you can't finish it. So that's within the first 3 months. You'll need to complete 60 hours of community service. You need to do that within the first 6 months of probation.
Okay.
And you'll need to maintain employment. That doesn't seem to be a challenge for you. You have a lot of skills and you're doing lots of things. So just stay working. And then you're going to need to stay away from an address that I can't tell you right now because I don't know it, but it's going to be in your sentence. And that's wherever Ms. Berrien is staying now. That one should be easy because you're going to have no contact with her anyway.
Right.
But that just puts a marker down like, hey, I need to stay out of that neighborhood because that's where she's staying.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. Most definitely.
Good. Was there anything else, Ms. Willingham?
No, Judge.
Okay. Ms. Rios?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Rosser, do you have any questions about what we discussed? Any more? You've had plenty, but you can have more. Do you have any more?
No, I do not. I do not. So one more thing though. You said it was a FCA like a foreign county. What was that like? Was it here or
no?
Oh, it's South Fulton. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
South Fulton. It just says foreign county. It shouldn't say that. It's just a different jurisdiction.
Right.
So you'll go to South Fulton.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Ms. Simpson is with probation. She's going to give you reporting instructions. It sounds like home for you is going to be in Douglas County.
Correct.
So you'll be supervised in Douglas, you'll need to report in Douglas. She's gonna give you that address and a date and time when you need to do that. Don't miss that. That's like your kickoff with probation. And if you're not there, they just reach out to me and say, no show, could we have a warrant, please?
Okay.
All right?
Okay.
All right.
I'm good. Awesome.
Thank you, Ms. Rivers.
Okay, Judge, have a good rest of the day.
All right, you too, take care.
Judge, what's the name of the cookie place again?
The what place?
The cookies, where you get the cookies.
Oh, Tiff's Treats.
Tiff's Treats, okay.
TIFF''S. And they always arrive warm. That's their big marketing thing.
Okay.
All right.